The first thing we want to talk about is the first stats we should be picking when we are first talking to Mother, and the clear winner here is going to be speech. We can actually get the rest of these stats up or bonuses to them fairly quickly in the first village, but speech is a little bit more limited in how we can get it rising, so we definitely want to be having that twice. Make sure you pick speech both times. And then in the following dialogue, we're actually going to get a little bit of extra speech. We're going to be talking about whether or not our friends have been here. And then we want to go with the My Friends Aren't Drunks option. This is going to give us some extra dialogue options as we are going forward. And then we can proceed to go through the rest of the dialogue. And this is something that you want to do in every conversation. Make sure you always exhaust all of the dialogue. Even if you're not going to listen to it, you can always skip it. And as you'll be able to see in your stats, you've actually already started to gain some speech experience. Skill checks will give you more experience than just speaking, but exhausting all of the dialogue is what is going to allow us to keep on building that up. Next up, we basically want to loot the whole home. We can go ahead and loot everything. Even things that may not seem like they have much value can be pretty useful. Make sure you loot all of the food, because we are going to want to make sure we have a decent amount of food with us as we're going around the village. This is going to make it a little bit more comfortable as we are moving around. Go ahead and eat the food in the pot. Keep an eye out for these as you're going around. This is just a free way to fill your hunger meter, so make sure you're always using them. A lot of the time when you rest, they actually reset as well, so just make sure you keep an eye on those. They are very useful to have. And then we can go into the storage room where we have a load more produce that we can grab. You may not want to carry all of this straight away, but if you do need food, you know that you have a place that you can come and you can grab some extras. I know we could have mentioned this before we left the initial room, but I wanted to save that until now, just in case you do decide to pick up all of that food and you're now over encumbered. This chest is actually the most useful chest because this one does not get modified after the events that happen in the starter village. I'm going to try and keep this as light on spoilers as I can. So we can actually go ahead and we can loot all of this. So we have bandages and marigold decoction for healing. The savior schnapps is what allows us to basically quick save. I do have a workaround for that, so I will do a couple of saves where I don't actually use those. And the nails for Teresa is actually a quest item. We can pick that up now or leave it there. But as we are going around and looting things, if you find that your inventory is getting heavy, this is a place that you can come and drop off all of your stuff. With our own home looted then, we want to take a look around as we are leaving. We can go ahead and we can talk to Mother again if we wish to, but it's all just the same dialogue options. And then if we look to the left, I can show you guys a bit of a habit that we need to get into, and that is looting all of the nettles. Especially early on, there is a few skills that we want to make sure that we are unlocking from the nettles, because they're going to actually give us some ridiculous bonuses when you think about just how simple this is. We want to be picking up all of the herbs and all of the plants that we see as we're going around. We can actually use these as potions, or we can sell them for a little bit of extra money, but just make sure you're always looting all of them. They are all over the place. Often they're at the side of paths, but right now, just to get a little bit extra, we're going to get them from around the tree. Once you're happy you've cleared all of that out, we can now start making our way over to Father, and as you'll see, even just those few plants has in fact increased our herbalism. Now, we don't have the buff yet, which means we need to pick up more nettles, which will eventually give us some additional stats. So we want to make sure that we're doing that. So we're going to come on over to Father, where we can start the next conversation, and then we can attempt to persuade him, but I don't think it's going to work at this stage of the game.
My boy. Anyway, with what? I'm running out. I'll need some money though. Yeah, that's...
And now that we have our initial quests, we can head on into the village. As I said before, as we're going along, you want to make sure you're just keeping an eye out for the nettles. And this is the first place where you probably want to take a save. So if you don't want to use up your savior schnapps, on the PC this works. At least I haven't tried this on console. If we save and quit, it's going to take us out of the game, yes. But now, if we press continue, it's going to take us back to the point that we just left at. This gives us an actual checkpoint in the game. Note that if we go into load game, this doesn't count as a load position, so be careful about how you use this. If you get autosaves and stuff, that's going to go straight over the checkpoint we just made. Have a quick look behind you. You want to make sure there's no witnesses here. We're going to drop into stealth mode, and then we are going to strangle this poor guy. We don't get caught holding the bag, so we want to make sure that we basically just loot everything. We don't want to kill him. For whatever reason, killing somebody is considered like a loud action and people will sense it from much further away. But we do now have ourselves some free loot, so feel free to look through that, see if there's anything that you like the look of. And he can actually get back up, reset all of his stuff as we are adventuring around, so he can pretty much be farmed for all of the loot that he has. So if you want some extra food, or any extra loot, anything like this, he's a good place to have it. If you feel like your weight is getting a little bit high, so mine's like 24 out of 70, still okay, can of course go ahead and drop some more back at the house. We should probably check along the side of the road up here. We have some sage. which is more herbalism. This actually isn't going to give us the perk that we want, but will upgrade our skill. So we'll make sure we grab all this as well. And once we've gotten all of that, we can then start heading down the path into the village. Be sure to come away from that villager before he wakes up, because if he sees you, he's going to assume it was you that was stealing, and he's going to go ahead and tell the guards. So we just want to come away as quickly as possible. Once we reach the village, as I was saying before, make sure you're keeping an eye out for herbs and plants we can pick up along the way. But we want to take a left so that we can start talking to, I think his name was Kunis or something like this. Basically the guy that we're supposed to be getting the money from, so that we can have some progress on the quest. So we're going to attempt some persuasion right here. Unfortunately, no matter what we do, he pretty much says no, even if we succeed. Something that's worth doing whilst we are here with this guy is just hopping inside of his house and taking a look at this chest.
Get into that.
Fritz is one of our character's friends, and he will give us some lockpicks now that we've seen that locked chest. So that's something that we can start progressing now if we wish to. At this point, you can choose to prioritize whichever one you want to do first. You can either start picking up a ton of herbs to get our herbalism leveled up to the point where we need it, or you can choose to go and see your friends, or kind of do one and the other at the same time by doing both things at once. So we're going to head on over to the tavern, which is where we should see our group of friends who want to go and have a little bit of fun. We should get a cutscene as we go over to the tavern, and we're going to say that we'll do it and then take some help in return, because then they can help us beat the guy up that we want to get the money from. Whilst we're here, though, we now want to speak to Fritz, which is this guy, and now we have ourselves some lock picks, so we can actually start picking some locks. More on that later. As you can see, though, now that we are at the tavern, there are suddenly a ton of nettles everywhere, so we're going to get those picked up, and we want to head into the main area of the tavern where we can speak to Bianca. We want to do everything except pick up the ale. He does specifically say that he wants it fresh because it'll be cold out of the cellar. This game does have like time-based deterioration, and so the ale will warm up if we get it now. So we'll go ahead and we'll use the Duchess saying stupid things. We don't want the picture of her father yet. We're unable to sell her our nettles, so we'll continue going through. Make sure we talk to all of the NPCs that we can talk to. And then we want to head on up the stairs, in the next room, and through this door. We're counted as trespassing here, so we don't want to get caught. Make sure we close the door behind us. And this is going to be a good place to create yourself a checkpoint. So you can either go ahead and use your save option or the save and quit option to save yourself the items for this that we talked about earlier. And then we're going to pick the 2 locks in here. We've got some tips for this as well. So make sure you have come into your settings, your game settings. And if you're on control, turn this to simplified. From there, you're also going to want to make sure you have a checkpoint here. So I'm going to go ahead and do a quick save and quit to get myself a good checkpoint, which will allow us to practice lock picking whilst we are in a fairly safe area and in a place that's got a couple of chests. We've got 2 in here that we can do. We really want to get our lockpicking up so that we can start getting this to be easier as soon as possible. It really doesn't take us long to start getting some of the perks either, so we just need to start getting that rolling. It's going to give us a much easier time as we go forward. So as we come in here, the way this works is you can see we have the bearing in the middle. That needs to go over the sweet spot. So if I put it there, I can then press LB on my controller right now, and that's going to start turning the tumbler around. It's easier the closer it is to the middle. So we can re-roll this, and you can actually get it fairly close to the middle as well. We're going to just keep on going in and out of this until we have a fairly favorable place that we can pick the lock from. This is a pretty good one. I have to be quiet when I do this because I need to concentrate on where it goes. As you can see, we need to hover over this. You can see we don't have much space to go out of where the sweet spot is. We kind of want to try and work out where the middle of it is. It's going to be there, and we want to try and stay in there as it turns. That's going to unlock the lock for us. Now the loot in here isn't necessarily amazing, but we are now gaining lockpicking experience, which is what matters. So we have just made further lockpicking a little bit easier for ourselves because we have just leveled up, which allows us to continue on with the game. We're going to go ahead and leave that room and head downstairs. Through the door under the stairs. Make sure you close the door behind yourself, where we have another door that we can lockpick again, just for a little bit of experience. And through said door, we have another chest, but we don't really want to be lockpicking a very hard one right now. But just to the side, we are going to find ourselves another easy one, so we're going to get that one done too. And this one has a ton of stuff in it, so we can go ahead and get ourselves some extra savior snaps, tavern life book, and anything else that you feel like you want. At this point, you can see that we are quite overloaded, so this is a good time for us to go and empty off our inventory with all of the stuff that we're carrying. So I'm going to go ahead and do that now. In case you don't remember, this chest here is where we want to store anything that we want to keep for later on. So here is a good time where we can look at the freshness stat. Anything that is perishable, we probably don't want to put in here, but things like beer, that is fair game, as are things like clothes and other things like this, so that we can start making ourselves a little bit lighter. As for the rest of the stuff, we can either use it just to feed ourselves as we're going around the village, or we can proceed to sell it to Bianca. So for me, I'm going to keep hold of it for now. Maybe I'll just free up a little bit of space. So I'm going to offload some stuff for now so that we can free up some space, and then I will probably just eat it as we're going around. Make sure we try and haggle a little bit as we're in here. Next up, we are going to improve our combat abilities slightly. To do this, we're going to speak to a guy that's been yelling at us for a while now. So if we just come to this dude, which is Vanyek, let me bring the map up for you guys just in case you really need it. You can see we're right here where the B is. And we're going to go ahead, we're going to talk to Mr. Vanyek here, who's going to give us some pointers in combat. We'll go ahead and follow him to the little sheep area that he's going to be taking us to. Again, feel free to pick anything up along the way. We want to keep our herbalism going. Just in case you don't know, the reason we can spend so much time on this at this point in the game is because time is actually static for us. This isn't usual. This isn't how it normally works, but we're just taking advantage of the fact that we have unlimited time right now to basically level up as much stats as we possibly can. Once we've made it to the little shack with our Mr. Vanyek here, we're going to get into the combat training, and we're going to proceed as normal until he wants us to start comboing attacks. And we're actually going to choose to not combo attacks. Instead, we're just going to keep on swinging once every second or so until he gets bored of us, basically. And this is just going to allow us to raise some combat stats. So let's just keep doing this. Once there's enough of us, you can go ahead and look at your stats. And you'll see, oh look, we got some extra points in strength. Some extra points in the sword. Rather useful. So with our little stat boost done, go ahead and continue getting all of the herbs in the area. Once we clear the hill, we can make our way down to the building we can see just at the bottom there. So that's where we're going to go next. And it's because this particular house is a little bit more time sensitive than the others, because once we've progressed certain quests, this will be much more difficult for us to pick and get our way into. From here, we're going to want to rob our way through the house. Make sure you take a save. We don't want to lose any of the progress that we've had so far. We're going to pick our way. You can choose whichever one you prefer first, but we're going to go to the left because there's no lock here. Stay hidden. We don't really want to attract any attention if we can help it. And then we can pick the chest that is over in the corner. Take the loot from there, and then head across to the other side to pick the lock on the door. Again, probably a good idea to save, being as we've already done one of the chests. And then we can head on through the door, where we can pick this nice easy lock right here, which is going to give us a significant amount of good clothing, which we can either sell or keep for later on. This obviously going to make us quite heavy, so we are off for another trip back to our home so we can drop some loot off in the chest. With that progress secured, we can head on around to the side where we're going to meet up with our friends. At this point, so long as you have still been picking up all of the herbs that we've had along the way, so things such as sage, there's going to be dandelion, all sorts of other stuff, but obviously the most obvious one on the side of the road is the nettles. You should, in theory, now have enough points to get yourself flower power. This is weirdly powerful, but it's just going to make us better at persuading people. So we want to get this perk right here, which allows us to have 8 charisma, so long as we have, I think it's 30 herbs in our inventory, which really isn't an issue for us right now. So let's go ahead and start this conversation. So it's now our job to persuade the lady that she needs to go and sort her husband out, who's saying bad things about one of the kings, which is going to lead to us now continuing on with the quest and puts us in a bit of a fight. Just play cautiously here. We should be fine. Try to make sure that you are playing defensively to start with, and then we can make our way around all of the different people that we need to beat, and then we can flee away from the catch pole with the friends. I think we just get away with it this time, so we just run off and then wait for all 3 of the friends to make it to Kunesh's, where we can continue, and then we can take the help with Kunesh. So we're going to 4-on-1 the old guy. It's going to allow us to go over to Kanesh's chest. Realistically speaking, if we can get away with it, we want to pick it instead. So we're going to close the door behind us. We're going to take ourselves a save in front of the chest because we really want the lock-picking experience. Once we've picked our way in, we can take the hammer and Kunesh's nails if we wish to. And we can even eat his food. At this point then, we are going to want to make our way to the general trading store. If you can't get in there, it's likely because your clothes are too dirty, so go around the back, use one of the troughs, clean your clothes off if that is the case. Once we're inside, we're going to head straight into the back and up the stairs. We want to be in stealth mode so we don't attract any attention. And then we're going to go ahead and save in front of the easy chest. Take the cash inside. And then we want to go through the door where we can find ourselves another easy chest. If you've been following along, this should have us level up to level 3 in lockpicking. With that being done and said, then we are going to come back into the room where we've got the first chest, and we're going to go for this hard one right here. This is probably going to take quite a few tries, and because we don't really want to be exiting the game every time we need to reload, we're actually going to take a proper save here, because if we run out of lockpicks, that's going to be bad, but this is actually going to have a ton of good stuff in here, so we really want to get this one open. So in this chest, we're going to get the full stock of the trade lady, and that gives us all of the charcoal that we need. I'm actually going to go ahead and I'm going to drop a load of this off back at home. Whilst I'm there, we can speak to Mother to get healed for free, just like Pokemon. At this point then, we are going to head back on to the back road. This is where we did the combat with the sheep, and this is the tavern. We're going to come back to this field where there's a guard stood at the gate. And we're going to clear this field out of as many herbs as possible until a villager comes and starts patrolling. We want to get a bit of a mugging on. The thing that we really want to get right now is level 10 herbalism. This is going to be pretty big because it allows us to start leveling up other stats by using the leg day perk. This is pretty big because now we're able to level up our strength whilst leveling up herbalism by picking up all of the plants around here, which is what we're going to do as we wait for this villager to come patrolling around. After a while of picking flowers in the field, we should find that there's a guy that patrols around the back end of the house. This is going to be our next victim. Make sure the coast is clear, and we are going to grab some extra stuff. Just going to loot the guy. We don't want to kill him. We're just going to take some stuff here. With that being done, we're going to move around to the front end of this building. And here, you want to have a look up at the bench. This is going to tell you whether or not there is someone else inside the house. So if we look inside, we should see... Can't jump because I'm overloaded. We should see that there is a lady on the bench. So if she's there, then we can just go ahead and we can knock her out if we do just want to loot her while she's here. Obviously, poor lady. It's not going to be the best of experiences for her, but she was here, unfortunately. And then that is going to give us access to this chest, which you can either use the key to open or you can pick with a lockpick. We, of course, want to get out of here because otherwise they're going to wake up, know that it was us, and we'll be in trouble. So we're going to go ahead, drop a load of loot off back at the home chest again. With most things in the main village now sorted, I think it's a good idea for us to go ahead and talk to the guards at the front of the castle. As you can see, you just follow the road all the way up. We've got the two guards right here. Go ahead and give them a chat. Go through all of the dialogue options here because we've been around the town, and then we can go ahead and collect the cross guard. At this point, we should probably be able to speak to Father and Mother just to make sure we've got all of the dialogue out of them, such as asking Father about Gutenberg, and Mother's looking pretty empty right now, so that's all good. So now we're in a position where the area is mostly finished. All we realistically need to do is collect the ale from the tavern. So if there's anything you want to grind out, such as being able to stealth kill this guy a few times, picking up more flowers, or anything else like this, now is the 100% time to be doing it. If you do decide you want to get on with the grinding, you can continue picking up herbs until you get a natural strength level of 5. This is important because it allows us to get over 6, and we can actually start taking down some of the guards, which can give us even more good loot. If you want to do this, obviously make sure that you get leg day as soon as possible, because you need to make sure that you can get that extra point of strength in, and you should be able to get your strength up to 5 by using the methods we've seen so far in the video. Of course, you could go ahead and get into fist fights with some of the villagers and stuff if you want to try and get away with that, but once you've gotten up to 5, we can actually make this into 6 by drinking some alcohol. So basically all you need is a little bit of cheap wine. I've already consumed it, and now we're just going to wait for it to take effect until you can see that our strength becomes blue and is at 6. Now, just to quickly show you all where I am, so you can all come here if you want to. This is the gate behind where Kunesh's house is. Wow, we're getting all woozy now. And down here, we actually have a guard that is a little bit less armored than some of the others. So we're just going to get behind him, crouch down into our stealth mode, and then we're going to go ahead and knock him out. Make sure you save beforehand, as this can fail, but give it a couple of goes, and we should find that we now have an unconscious guard. We're going to drop this body, and then what we're actually going to do is we're going to come around the corner a little bit, because as we're trying to steal stuff from him, the people around the corner there, they're going to see us, and then we're going to go ahead, grab all of that lovely loot there. Let's get out of here as quickly as possible. We do not want to be seen. Now is going to be a good time to drop a save. Go ahead, drop all your stuff back off in the storage. I know we're making a lot of trips up there, but it's all good. Once the guards have all calmed down and have stopped looking for the culprit, you can go ahead and you can isolate any of the ones that you like. Do the same thing. I managed to get this archer guy. I managed to get a second guard that had like some arrows and stuff on his back. There's the dude that's carrying a shield that walks up to behind our little stealth farm up at the top. You can go ahead and get him as well. You guys can get creative with that. The most important thing for me to now show you is that we now have a sword. We also have a bow, so you can train this as well. But realistically, the sword's the main thing that we just don't have the stats for right now because we need more agility. Ideally, we want to try and get that up to 4 pretty quick. So we're going to come to this bottom end, and I guess the northern end if we're looking at the compass pointer of the town, where we can take a right turn and go down this path here. And we can follow all the way down for some cows. We have 2 cows, and they are stupid. In case you don't know, left on the D-pad for melee weapons. If you hit them towards the fence, there's a good chance they'll run into the fence and get stuck. Don't worry if they don't get stuck, because they won't run very far, and they'll actually just kind of like de-panic and start walking back towards you anyway. I'll try and replicate that in a second. So go ahead, kill 1 cow. Let me just hit this one off, and you'll see that it'll like get a little bit down the path and then decide that it wants to come back because it just can't go that far. These can keep respawning, and we can also do the sheep as well, but I find these are much easier. This is, of course, slow, so I'm not going to recommend that you do this like I mean, you can do this for as long as you want, but basically, we want to do this until we can start getting our agility up to 4. Mine's obviously 3 right now, so I'm going to spend a little bit of time doing this before I continue. But whilst we're waiting for the cows to respawn, something that we can do is we can actually loot the cows. This will count as stolen, so we have to sell this to Bianca. But as you can see, they have a lot of beef that we can sell. Obviously, we could keep it, but it's going to go off anyway by the time we get back here. So we can go ahead, we can take all of this. We can take all of this to Bianca, and we can keep on selling it. The cool thing is, she's then going to go on to sell the beef, and she's going to keep on getting more and more money, which means that we can basically keep on getting richer whilst we are leveling up our agility. To turn this into an effective loop then, so we want to kill the cows, sell meat to Bianca, sprint up to our stealth farm, back near where mother and father are, get the stealth takedown, check his pockets for more money, sprint back to where the cows spawn, and don't worry if you get here early. What you want to start doing is hopping over the fence. This is actually going to raise your vitality stat, but as you can see, it really doesn't take them too long to come on back, and we can rinse and repeat until we have everything that we want. I haven't managed to stealth kill this guard. I am up to a strength of 4. I don't know what strength level we need to be able to get this guy's armor off of him, because it looks rather nice. I would have liked to have had it, but I think this is far enough for me. There are probably other things that we can get away with as well. There are a couple of locked doors. I did try to get into that house right there. The chests just didn't seem to be worth it, but there are 2 locked doors in there, so if you do need more lockpicking XP, that's probably not too bad. And there are some very hard locks on this house right here. I just can't seem to find a way for us to be able to do that without getting caught. So we're going to be passing over into the next act. To Bianca, we get the picture for father, get the extra saving steps, and now we can think about finishing off so that we can move on with the game. At this point, if you've been dropping stuff off in the chest, let's go through the things that we need for father. So it's going to be a good idea for us to drop off anything that's not too necessary. We only need 10 charcoal, so we can go ahead and drop 10 of that in the chest. We need the crossguard, of course. We need Kunesh's hammer, of course. Kunesh's key, Kunesh's nails. Picture veil will keep. And being as we are here, we can go ahead and collect the nails for Teresa, because that's going to be important momentarily. With all of the quest items in our inventory, then we can go and speak to father to finish out this little part of the main story quest. After the short cutscene then, we are now fleeing from some enemies, and we need to make our way down to where the horses are. We want to be sprinting most of the way so that we don't allow the enemies that are behind us to catch us. If we dally around too much, they are going to start attacking us and doing a lot of damage, so we need to be getting away from them as soon as possible. Unfortunately, we can't help the lady on the right, so we just need to get to the horse and mount up, and we just want to hold down the gallop button, so we're just going to be going forward. It's important not to open our inventory right now, and we need to do it after we get a cutscene, so we're just going to keep on heading forward. Once we gain control, we want to go into the inventory where we can unequip and store some of the items in here, which are just going to in general give us some nice advantages as we move forward. At this point, we just want to follow the path until we can close out the chapter with the cutscene. Time for us to become the Ghost of Talmberg. So once we arrive, we're going to be prompted to follow Robard, and we need to do that to start with to get things rolling. So let's get on with that conversation. As always, make sure you get as much dialogue options as possible to keep on pushing your speech up. Eat your way through the food in the kitchen rather quickly because we are all so tired. Just be quick about this, otherwise you may end up falling to sleep on your feet, which is kind of funny. Once you've gotten yourself all fed up and the game seems to decide that because you've eaten, you are now tired, we're going to head to the bedroom that we've been given, which is marked on the map. You can see it's at the back end of the yard here. I don't know if it makes that much of a difference, but I do like to follow the prompt of taking your clothes off before you go to bed. Just seems kind of normal to me. And then we're going to attempt to have a sleep until morning. This, of course, is going to be interrupted, and we want to tell the story of the raid and take every opportunity to take a speech check that we can as we go through the dialogue. Once we're woken up by Robard, most of the NPCs in Talmberg are now distracted and stuck in place doing something. So we want to be getting as much out of this little area that we're in right here before we start letting things progress. So whilst we're waiting for one of the villagers to go to his bed, we're going to come on out a little bit. We're just going to explore these buildings on the first floor. I'm just going to double check inside all of them because sometimes obviously you can miss things such as this. So we're going to go ahead. I'm going to pick this easy chest right here. The loot inside is less important than the XP, but you can take as much of this as you want to. We've got a bit of a trick for gaining more XP as we go through the game. And don't worry about things being stolen because we're going to kind of launder those later on as well. And we are going to have a storage chest pretty quickly. As you're going around, just check through the window. We want that bed to be filled before we start picking in there. Again, it's just for lockpicking XP. But this guy here can catch you if you're not careful. So that's what we're waiting for. Also, for those wondering where your horse is, if you look at the stables, this is our horse. You can see it says mount and not steal. So just bear that in mind for later on in this zone. Once the guy in green is all asleep, we are now going to head on inside. And we just want the XP. So we're just going to go ahead. We're going to lockpick this door. And then very quietly, we just want to pick this lock. Make sure nothing goes wrong here, because if you make too much noise, you're going to wake people up. And that's going to be a reset. And then we're going to go ahead and leave. Now that we've done that bit, we have one more chest on this lower area. We're going to come on around to the left. Now be careful here because this guy can catch you, but he should be going to bed by now. So we're going to come into this one. Sometimes he'll still be over here messing around with the hay. If he is, that can be an opportunity for you to gain some stealth XP. You can come in and you can knock him out. Maybe you could do that at the very first thing if you want some extra stealth XP while you're doing this. Then we can pick the chest behind the door. Again, we have assortment of loot. In my opinion, the next priority is unlocking ourselves the storage chest from where we are. So we've gone around, we've shown where the horse is, and we've pretty much dealt with most of the stuff on this courtyard. We're going to come on over this way towards the gate, and we have these stairs leading up to the left. We don't want to mess around with these guys. We're going in here. And then we want to go down this ladder. There's a hard chest down here that the guards should not interfere with, which means that the stuff that we put in there should not get reset during the time that we're in the castle. So as you can see, this is going to be a time where we want to make a save so that we don't lose any of our lockpicks. So you can feel free to take the stuff out of here, but we are basically going to use this for storage, which means we're going to go ahead and offload a lot of the heavy stuff that we have on us right now. It's worth noting at this stage, we don't really need any weapons. We're not going to be doing any fighting for a little while. So feel free to just lighten yourself up as much as possible. With that chest looted then, we have quite a lot more that we can do inside of here. Obviously, once it's done, you may want to take a save directly afterwards. Obviously, you can do a full reset for that. But we should be competent enough to get the easy one done. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to get this one done now, where we'll have a full set of armor. This is actually pretty useful for later, but we're going to get a better set than this very shortly anyway. We'll go ahead, we'll take all the shields and stuff as well off the wall. Rob the barrel because this has arrows in it. And then we want to go up the ladder for some more chests. We have 2 hard chests. This could take a while. Make sure you do take a save between each one because we really don't want to be losing any of the lockpicks that we have. And with those 2 chests cleared, let's make sure we go ahead and get everything out of the barrels as well. Then, as you can see, we are very heavy right now. So we want to go and get all of this dropped off in our new storage chest down below. From here then, we are going to go and grab a very superior set of armor. So we're coming back to where the horses were in this little courtyard, up all of the stairs until we reach the walkway. Try not to run once we get over here because we want a guard to stay asleep. Take a save just before going in because we can wake him up and we do not want that to be an issue for us. And then from here, we can head on inside the tower where we'll see a guard. He'll either be on that bed or the bench. We're going to go ahead and knock him out. Loot all of his very good gear, and then we very quickly need to get in and do the hard lock behind him. For even more nice gear. This is likely to be quite heavy, so we're going to go ahead and take this back to our storage chest, and then we will continue from the courtyard. For this next part then, make sure you bring a torch along. It's going to light the way as we get some extra loot. There's a lot to get on this floor right here. So this is the top door. We're going to work our way down so that we can get lots of lockpicking experience. Immediately on the right, we've got an easy lock, so let's go ahead and get that one done. Nothing crazy in here, but an extra torch just in case you didn't already have one. It actually doesn't allow us to knock out Stephanie, who was the nice lady that came to speak to us before. But then we have an easy lock right here. Go ahead and grab all of that lovely loot. And then we can begin making our way down the rest of the corridor. Next door on the right, this one's actually going to be a hard, so you may want to take a save right here. We can't do the very hard one in the corner, so now we can move on to the next room. Very hard in that corner, which we can't do. So you might be thinking, well, what does he mean by next room? Well, actually, we're going to go through here. Run down to the end. Stay in darkness for now, just in case somebody can see across. Sneak mode so that we can get into the door. We'll see it's absolutely pitch black, so get yourself a torch out. And then we want to go up the ladder. Or one very easy chest. and then up another ladder for another easy chest. That's going to put us overweight, so we're going to head back down to the tower and all the way back to the storage chest. And now with another fresh inventory, again started from the same place, we're going to go to the middle door. So we just cleared out this door, now we're going to this door. Okay, we're going to put the torch away because we don't want to be disturbing his sleep as we go in there. We're going to get into stealth mode and we're going to knock this boy out. Steal his groschen. And then we're going to pick his hard lock. Take all of his goodies. Don't forget to rob the bookshelf, as this will be useful when you're trying to increase your reading skill. And then we can leave this room. Very easy lockpick in the corner. Can take the tableware if you wish to. Lockpick away through the other door, just for the experience. As for some reason inside of here, we are unable to pick these hard locks. This allows us to go through the final door in the building down below. Make sure you're in sneak mode. We don't want to wake these people up. We'll get this one next to this guy. Obviously, be sure you don't break this one. Otherwise, the breakage can wake him up. Turn around so that we can go through the door into the kitchen. And pick this lock in the corner. And it's up to you at this point whether or not you want to go ahead and drop stuff off in storage, or if you just want to go ahead and continue the story mission, which is what I'm going to do right now. We'll head around the battlements so that we can go and catch up with Robard. We are, of course, going to help out on the watch. Wander around until one of the guards comes and catches up with you, and now we should just be able to use the wait function. Wait until about 7 AM. After the cutscene, let's go ahead and talk to Robard and get through all of his dialogue so that we can continue leveling up our speech. Obviously, we'll go ahead and try to bury my parents. It's pretty much always fails. Now, maybe if you're wearing like high-level clothes, you could probably persuade him to let you out, but that's really not going to be an issue, and we're just going to assume that not everybody gets to do that. With Robard spoken to, then we're actually going to go ahead and we're going to talk to the guard, Radim, who is near the gate, and then we're going to go through his dialogue. When we get into the need to get out of here, we'll try to persuade him with, I have to bury my parents. I don't think he'll believe us if he says Robard gave us permission, but that should succeed. He's pretty agreeable to that. If you ask him what he's got in mind, he'll tell you that there's a place where you should be able to get yourself some armor, which is actually where we've already been. The place that I think he is referring to is actually the place that we have been using as our storage room, which is why I think all of that loot was in there for us in the first place. We're going to go ahead and get into a set of armor. Use the best one that you like. And then what we're going to do is speak to the guard so that he'll allow us to leave the town. It's worth noting that we are unable to mount the horse whilst we are over encumbered, and once we have left the castle for a few moments, the gate is going to be closed behind us. So you will need to make a decision as to whether or not you want to go fast here, mount the horse and continue with the mission, or if you want to walk slowly over encumbered and then go and store it in the tavern, as I will be doing in the rest of the video. We shouldn't need to run around anywhere because we are disguised, so we are going to head down into the village so that we can go and interact with the tavern. Just in case you need some directions, then all you need to do, because obviously we came out the front gate here, is come on down and then follow the path across the river. You can either come straight to the south or to the north, and then we'll find the tavern, as you can see, towards the back end of the village. Ask for a place to sleep. One night is enough. It's up to you if you want to have a few nights. Depends how long you plan on staying in this little village. We're just going to go with one night here. The main thing we're trying to do is store some stuff. 2 gold. We've had plenty of that, so we're going to go ahead. We're going to pay. To find the bedroom that we've hired, we go through the coop on the left-hand side, open the door, and then up the ladder. This chest right here, which if you've got DLC and stuff should have your ancient maps in there, is not only a safe chest, but also a universal chest across all of the taverns. We are going to go ahead and store all of our heavy stuff in here right now. And as you can see, if you just maintain a set of armor and some weapons on yourself, you can see that we are quite overweight. So if you are planning to go out and maybe pick some more herbs because you want higher strength, or if you want to explore the village, you may want to consider taking off all of the armor and maintaining a light load load whilst you are doing that. If you are in the mood for some grinding, then that's what I'm going to do. So you can see that I've lightened my load off quite a bit, and I've gone with gear that is as silent and hard to see as possible. Coming back out of the tavern then, the idea is going to be to just basically pick as many locks as possible. We can take the loot and put that in our storage chest if we want. It will give us a few extra groschen, but it's not like anything to write home about. The main thing is getting all of the lock picking XP. First up then, if it's quiet, we want to move into the main part of the tavern. You can see if we come through this way, sometimes we'll get away with there being no people in here. So that's exactly what we're going to be taking advantage of right now. Nice easy lock straight away. Now, 100% do not want to run out of lockpicks here, because there is a very nice chest for us to get along the way as we exit this town. So we want to make sure that we are interacting with that on the way out. But that's 2 extra locks picked. We're looking really good here, right? And then we can come on out and up the stairs for a 3rd one. Again, not exactly ridiculous loot in here, but we're going to take it anyway because we can. Moving out into the village then, we're going to take a left turn. We are just going to be opportunists. We're going to go ahead, we're going to loot everything. If we run out of space, we're going to go back to the storage chest to drop it all off. I actually want to keep most of the herbs that we gather, so as much stuff as we possibly can, we want it all to be in the chest. If the coast is clear as you're coming down the path, you can see that was the tavern right there. We should 100% pick the lock on this door right here. So let's go ahead, let's get into sneak mode. Very easy, very quick. And just in case we get caught, and we've had some progress here, it's probably a good time to make yourself a save break, so make sure you do that. And then we get another easy lock inside the house. Got some nice skill increases there, which is much more important than the loot we got from the chest. And then we can continue picking up the plants as we follow the path down. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to make my way across the stream here and then up the stairs on the other way. Again, a lot of this is going to be kind of opportunistic, so you just need to keep an eye out for when villagers are separated or not together, so that you can either knock them out so you can open their chests, or, you know, just make yourself an opportunity so that you can get on in. She's probably going to come over to me because this is going to be trespassing. Let's see if we can wait for her to move. So we can head on in. Whenever you do something dangerous like this, probably worth making a quick save so that you don't lose progress. Otherwise, it can be a long restart sometimes. So it looks like we're going to get away with a knockout. Not even any groschen new. I'm not going to take all the clothes or anything. Sometimes it's just not worth it. But I do 100% want the lockpick XP, so we're going to go with that. Clear the chest out and leave. Also, whenever we do something like that, we don't want to be close to them when they wake up, so let's just get away. So, of course, we're going to move our way past the first building, jump on over to the main path, start gathering all the herbs again as we move south. And then we're going to raid this building here on the left, so grab some herbs as well. Nettles, obviously. We're going to take a save at the door. Way too much progress to restart now. And then we can pick our way through. Now, I believe there are 2 NPCs in here, so we do need to be careful. Maybe there's a potential for 2 NPCs. I think last time I came in. But no, pretty empty right now. Pick the chest. That's actually a bit far away, really. Some more free loot. Another very easy lock. Then we have another easy lock. And another very easy lock. So as you can see, this area is just quite nice for getting that lock picking experience on the go. And now we can leave and head on over to the right. There's pretty much no one over here, so we're just going to head on inside the barn and pick this lock. From the barn then, we want to turn around and start heading back into the village. Again, I know I keep on saying it, but I just like to stress that you should be continuing to pick up all of the nettles and this kind of thing as we're going around, just to keep your herbalism and strength skills rising, as it's just very nice. Economy of effort is what I like to call it, where we're just getting lots of things straight away. Now we're going to come on down until we get to the T-junction that leads to the bridge. There are quite a lot of buildings where maybe you can get away with getting inside. Like here, for example, maybe we can get on in and pick this lock in the corner, but this is just an opportune thing, so we can't really mess around and be in here too long doing this, because if he comes out, it catches us and that resets us, so we want to avoid that happening if at all possible. Again, the loot isn't supposed to be amazing. We're just trying to get stat increases. We're obviously not going to get anywhere with 2 people in there, so we want to be careful about that. And down this way, a lot of the areas and stuff have multiple villages in, so very difficult to get in there, but you can obviously go around and explore all of this. But I'm going to take the right turn so that we can cross the bridge and head back into the main part of the village. We're going to jump over the fence, because if it is clear, I want to take the opportunity to pick my way into here. We'll take a quick save at this point, so that we can continue gaining the lockpicking experience by getting into here. Get the chest inside. Ooh, she nearly caught me. And then we can continue our way along this road, heading north through the village to see if we can get any other opportunities. Let's have a look in here quickly. So she's actually facing us. That's not going to be very good. And with the door open as well. We'd have to get very lucky for this to be closed and then for her to not notice me. We'll give it a go. There we go. Got away with it. A bit more lock-picking experience. That was close as well. Wow. We can run up the road and into the bath area. Again, we want to be looking at opportunities. This door here, if it's locked, is going to be very difficult because there's just people sat around watching everywhere and guards all over the place, so unlikely. This next door on the left, though, we've got one poor lady sat all on her own. It's good for stealth XP at the very least. A little bit of groschen. Easy chest. Very easy door. Easy chest. And then in the other room, easy chest. Alright, we of course want to get away from here pretty quickly because when she wakes up, we are going to be in trouble. And when we come further in, we're going to get followed by the proprietor. So trying to get any more chests in here is not going to work very well. So we're going to go ahead and leave and head back towards the tavern. This, of course, has made a bit of a loop. You probably can get a little bit more out of this than I did, but I feel like we've done pretty well, made out like a bandit. I have had to drop my stuff off at the tavern a couple of times because I've been heavy, and my strength stat is almost, I'm going to get that rounded up to 7. So I'm just going to pick some flowers, and then I'm going to drop a load of stuff off in the tavern before we continue on to the next stage of the early game. At this point then, you want to decide how you want to defeat a few bandits, whether or not you want to be doing it through archery, which is exactly what I'm planning to do. So make sure you at least have something to put on your wrists, as this will prevent injury from the bowstring. And then as much armor as you'd like. It just depends on how much loot you want to be able to carry, because obviously wearing full heavy armor right now is quite limiting in terms of the loot they're able to get. Probably bring a shield along for the ride as well. Pick the pattern that you like the most. And now that we're ready to leave Talmberg, we want to head up to the northern area, through this little barn, past all the chickens, until we can see the fishing hut. If it's looking clear, we can nip inside so that we can grab some extra lockpicking XP. Obviously, make sure you save before doing this, as always. Otherwise, something like that can happen. But either way, what we're going to be looking to do next is to actually come behind the fishing hut and head along what isn't a path, but kind of does lead you to this interesting spot right here, where we can lockpick our way into this chest for some nice loot, which isn't even stealing. How good's that? With that done, we could just keep heading east. It doesn't really matter which direction, but basically we want to make our way out of Talmberg, and eventually we'll be taken to the next zone. Time for our fated return to Skalitz. This mission, I believe, is called Homecoming, which is most of what we're going to be walking through here. We're obviously at Rovna right now. There is not a terrible amount for us to do, technically speaking, but there are some things that we can get along the way. If you need things like food, especially dried food that doesn't go off, you feel free to go ahead and pick stuff like that up. We have a good opportunity to get a load of flowers here, but I don't like doing it when I'm not close to a place that I can either store it or a way to get rid of it all without just chucking it all on the ground, because it's wasteful. We probably shouldn't fill our pockets with poppies, and you're going to see why as we move forward. Now, these guys that we can see on the road, and is a bit in the distance over there, if I remember rightly, I'll try and zoom in, so hopefully maybe you can see them a little bit better. These are in fact bandits, and ideally we don't really want to fight them face to face. We did get a load of armor in the previous episode, but I'm choosing to stay light for 2 reasons. First, I want to do stealthy stuff, but second, when we do each video, I don't want to assume that everybody from the previous video has done everything in that video, because like if I come in here with full plate armor and a shield and somebody picks up this video, they are going to be like, hey, I don't have all of that, what am I supposed to do? And so until we, well, probably until after this video, because once you've done this video, you can actually go back to Talmberg and get all of that armor. But realistically here, we want to stealth on this guy, and we're try and take him out in an easy way. Nobody's noticed me. Right, so we're going to get a quick tutorial on combat instead. I can't really take this slow and explain everything that we're seeing here. But basically, you see we have the reticle in the middle. Now, I don't know the controls on PC, but basically the right thumbstick on a controller is going to change the direction that you are blocking or attacking from. The thing we don't have right now is we don't have the Master Strike, which is a big disadvantage that we have. So realistically, what we want to do is we want to block them just in time, and then we want to get in with at least 2 stabs. This is in general going to be enough to get them to either die, and maybe you can take some of the armor if you want. That's a sax. What am I using? My weapon's better than that anyway. but we'll take a spare. I'm surprised he managed to hear me. That kind of annoys me a little bit. The combat here is fairly defensive, so just bear that in mind. Try not to rush the combat and get used to the idea of parrying attacks, because that's realistically going to be the way that we deal with a lot of the enemies, okay? Now, of course, you don't need to fight any of them, but I 100% do recommend that you take the opportunity to get some combat skills up. It's not necessary, and actually very soon we actually are going to have, it's a very small window, but there is an opportunity to get basically as much combat stats as you want. Once that window is available, and it'll probably be in the next video, so if you guys want to see that, hang around to the end because we'll have that linked in the end screen. But we 100% need to get defense up, and that's because of this. Armor gets incredibly heavy, so taking a third off of the armor that we're wearing is going to be amazing. Ideally, we want defense up, which is why we have a shield and we have sword, which you should have, because you should have had to get some extra loot to get out of Talmberg anyway. I've probably been overcautious with how little gear I've brought with me, but it's all good. So for the purpose of my video, we're going to continue moving down. I'm going to suggest you at least try to get some arrow shots off. I absolutely suck at archery in this game. We've got one Groshen. Very nice. So we're going to follow the road down. There's going to be more bandits, so just be careful. I did get called a monster for looting the peasants on the way down, because obviously these are like people here are probably known. It's supposed to be an emotional experience right now. We can now see our village up on the hill. So we have another one right here. Again, we could literally skip this guy. We could just come out into the field, completely go by him, okay? I guess we'll just shout him off. It's only what we're doing. Now, I don't know if they've spawned yet. 100% avoid going over that way. I don't know if there's some kind of enemy leveling system, but when I did finally come back here on the streams, in the actual village where we're going and across the river that way, some fairly well-equipped enemies that we don't really want to mess with right now. We definitely want to be much better at combat than we are right now if we want to be dealing with those guys. So don't do that. So if I just do this as like a map marker, don't cross the river right now, because I just think that's going to be dangerous. We've got one right here. Look, I nearly didn't see him. When it comes to aiming, the only real advice I can give you is it needs to kind of be over the left knuckle, but it looks like my guy doesn't even have the stats for the bow, so if we want to fight this guy, we're going to have to do it in melee. There's another one down. He's actually got some kutas, so we could get some extra armor if we wanted, but we're okay. I mean, we could take a leather jerkin. That probably would be an improvement over what we have. I was trying to be quiet. I was hoping to be able to stealth on these guys, but apparently I can't even use the bow yet. Once we get to the crossroad, what we're going to do is we're going to hang a left, and we're going to go through this little set of buildings right here. As we start running down, you'll see that we have a bridge. You don't want to be too noisy here. I don't think I can show them, but on the other side of that wall, there are bandits, and we don't really want to alert them all to our presence. So you may want to not sprint or even duck yourself down. We're going to go under this little wall here that has the drainage hole in it, and directly on the left, we're going to find that we have a chest full of goodies. We're 100% going to be taking those and leaving. With that loot collected, we can now continue moving into Skalitz. I return to the original crossroad where we started this small segment at, so we can continue on up the hill. We're just following the road because it's easier. You don't have to do this. Another enemy up in the road ahead. And especially once you're getting this close, you probably want to make sure you've made a save of some kind.
Answer to my prayer, just when I wanted to vent my rage at them. Giving up already?
With that guy dealt with, we can now start heading into the village. Be careful here because there are places that we can go that are going to trigger cutscenes, and we don't want to do that straight away. There is one we do need to trigger straight away, and we need to get a shovel, which is what we want first. With everything that we want taken care of from outside of Skalitz, then let's start heading inside. We need to head pretty much straight in. Try not to forget the shard that is in the bailiff's hand. It's not too bad of a weapon. And then get the cutscene with the parents as we head into the back end of the village. Once the cutscene's done, we want to go towards where the dog is barking, which is past the burnt out cart and through these doors. Get through all of his dialogue. You can loot a bit of Groshen on the corpse, and then we can go ahead and grab the spade. Now that we have the spade, we want to take a left first because there's a bit of loot we can get before we leave. So we're going to come on down the back end right here and then dig right here where we can see this kind of footprints on the ground. Bit of loot for us. Now we want to head up to our home. Pick up any loot that you've left inside of your home's chest. It doesn't matter if we're a bit overweight. It's not too much of an issue. We are going to get transported to a chest where we can store all of this anyway. Pick the lock in the other room. We don't really care about the loot, but we will take extra XP. Head outside to get the next cutscene by coming over towards the tree and starting to dig. This fight is unwinnable, so it's up to you what you want to try and do here. Whilst we are in the dream, which is where we're going to finish this off, we want to make sure we have our weapon out and find as many NPCs as we can, as the XP will carry over. So find this stuff and just go ham. Doesn't matter what we attack, it doesn't affect the real world. And then all you need to do is follow the quest marker until you come out of the dream. This will lead to us waking up in a new place with Teresa. Obviously get through all of the dialogue. And then we can store all of our goodies in this chest that we wake up next to, which, oh look, has all of the other stuff we stored earlier. And also has all of the things that we had in our inventory in there as well. So it's all nice and stored for us, and you are in a great position to continue forward with the game. After the events of returning to Scouts, then, we're going to wake up pretty close to Ratai. I guess we can't actually see it right now. It doesn't tell us. I'm going to suggest that we don't go to Ratai. This is going to be a do this before we go to Ratai type of video. So I hope you guys don't mind that. There are a few things that we need to do. First up, this is now our storage chest. All of the stuff that we have stored previously is going to be in here, and everything that we actually had equipped on ourselves is in here as well. So if you've been following along, you should have a ton of fairly nice gear in here. I'm going to recommend that you bring along items and weaponry that you are pretty able to use. So I'm just going to have a quick check through here. I think I can use the dogwood hunting bow. So if you just work your way up the different villager bow levels, you can see that we got 2 and 1, and then 3 and 2, and then 5 and 4. I should be able to use this villager's U-bow. So we're going to take one of those. This is important because when we get to a different village just to the north of us, we're actually going to be able to level up our archery skill there. We're going to take a shield just in case we do get into some combat. Same goes for the weapon. Just bring something along that you should be able to use with the stats that you have. I'm going to go ahead and get those equipped so that we are now able to participate in combat if the need arises. We shouldn't end up in that much combat in this video. Bring along a few arrows. You probably don't need to have all of your arrows with you. We are going to get extra stuff along the route that we're going to be going along. And then armor wise, especially at this stage, I like to just stay as light as possible. Mainly the only real thing we need is armor on the wrists, as that'll protect us from hurting ourselves, because until we get archery or bow skill level 5, we'll actually do damage to ourselves. So make sure you have as many of your slots filled as you can. I am basically aiming to have as low of a visibility, conspicuous, and noise level as we can with the gear that we've got so far. And that should pretty much do. I didn't actually have the wrist armor. I do have some like pauldrons we could put on, but that will make us a lot more noisy, and I don't want to be noisy. So we're going to go ahead, we're going to move that back in. So the aim is going to be to get as much stealthing and looting done as possible. We want to have a really nice, strong start. If you haven't been following along, you will actually be able to return to Talmberg eventually to get everything. So just bear that in mind as you are moving forward. I'm, of course, going to go ahead and drop some more stuff off in the chest. Check up the ladder. I can't remember exactly where every chest is, so we'll just check all of the different nooks and crannies for now. There are going to be quite a few things for us to lockpick here, and you'll probably see why soon enough, because Peshek is actually going to teach us to pick locks. And we're actually going to get additional lockpicks now, so that's actually very nice. You guys won't know who Peshek is. We're going to see him in a second. So with our opening room looted, we can head on through. So with this first room looted, we can head on outside. Teresa's going to be there available for us to talk to. I don't know if we can get Mutt immediately. All DLC is loaded in, including Woman's Lot. Let's not get stuck into that straight away. Yes, so let's ask about the dog that's wandering around here. Ask all our different questions about the dog, and then we can decide whether or not we want to take the dog. The only additional bit of management we really need to care about is that we now need to feed him meat. He does seem to be fine feeding him gone-off meat, though, so long as you have some on you, this should not be too much of an issue. Make sure you take the dog along with you before you set on out. And now we are able to start leveling up our dog. All we need to do now is talk to him and give him some food. With that done, we can go ahead and speak to Peshek, who is Teresa's uncle, I believe. And then we're going to go along with his mission. And we are pretty much going to follow this mission for now, but there is more that we can look at around here, and I believe that we can now ask him to teach us to pick locks. And now we can pick this lock pretty much freely, and then we can go get some extra sage snaps for free. Pretty useful. And this relocks itself, as you can see, pretty quickly. And we can go on through the door to the left, get another easy pick. And you should find that you now have quite a few lockpicks, so we don't have to be quite so stingy and worried about picking locks anymore, as long as we don't keep on breaking them. With that little bit of an extra thing done then, it's time for us to start exploring around. Now, as per the previous videos, in case you don't know this, you should always be picking up plants as you're going around them, particularly when you are close to storage, because you can drop them off and save them for later, and we are going to want to use our alchemy skills to make some money once we get further into the game. So you could just sell it all for easy groschen now, and then we can pick up the shovel from the wagon right here. It's not exactly highlighted, which is, you know, a part of it being an authentic experience, but just so you guys know where that is, we now have the spade. And before we start heading out to the south, I recommend that we come over to the west, where we have a merchant that sells and buys hides, but also has a few things that we can interact with. We want to remain out of sight as much as possible. Now is a good time to take a save if you are feeling like it's a bit of a risk. We're going to pick our way into the door, quietly head on inside. Don't worry about the dog, it doesn't seem to do anything. I'm sure in the next game they are going to change it so that dogs are more risky, but they don't appear to alert the owners very much as to the fact that we've just gone into their houses. So we can head on in, we get the hard chest, which we can't do yet. No, we can do hard. What am I talking about? It's very hard, so we can't do yet. I'm going to pick our way through here. Lock picking continues to rise, it's very nice. Some free food, another easy lock. It may seem crazy that I'm just taking everything, even things that aren't necessarily worth loads of money, but it's all going to mount up for later on. Don't worry, there is a plan. We'll go ahead and eat out of the pot. This means that any food we pick up can now be saved for a while. This is actually how I tend to sustain myself as I'm going around a lot of the time, just eat out of everybody's pots, and that works pretty well for me. With her home thoroughly looted, we can now head on outside. I didn't do this on my practice run, but if there's nobody watching, there seems to be very little reason not to knock her out. We're not going to kill her. I tend to not be a murderer, so we'll just leave her there. I believe they do respawn when it's like a non-named NPC like this. Oh, she doesn't even have money, but we will take the dried food. And then, because she's now not watching, which is the main reason for doing this, we're going to shoot the bow. Oh, there were people there. Wow, we could have gotten caught. We're going to shoot the bow at the dog. This is going to start getting us our archery skill up. And as you can see, we now have some meat. And yes, the dog will eat dog meat wherever it's gone. I'm now, of course, very heavy, so I'm going to go ahead and go back to my storage chest to get things dropped off. After dropping everything off, we're back at the tannery, and it has gone nighttime, which is a thing. But yeah, now that we have the dog, where are you? And we took the dog meat from the dog, we can go ahead and we can go in there and feed it. We don't have to do this like loads, but basically, if we just periodically feed the dog, that's going to level up our Hound Master skill. And realistically, we need to get it to sick. We need to get it up to level 5, and that's when it starts becoming more useful in combat. And we have other cool stuff as it starts to level up. So we want that to be progressing as we move through the game. So once we're done with the tannery, you can see that I have waited around a little bit, and I did a save, had a bit of a sleep just to make sure my energy was kind of high-ish. Still could do the more sleep, actually. There's some houses over there. You could get yourself a little bit of lock-picking skill by just opening the door, but the NPCs in there are going to activate quite often, so quite tough to get in there and to take anything naughty. So we're going to head on up this way, and we're going to start coming towards this bathing camp. I don't know why they do baths in tents. It's so strange to me, but I guess that's just what they do. This is probably a good place to make yourself a checkpoint. There's quite a few chests in here, so it can be quite profitable if we can get away with getting around in here. Just requires that we are quiet. Let's make our lockpicking quieter, shall we? Got ourselves another chest. In rooms like this, where there are loads of NPCs, it's very risky to do anything. If we like try and knock that NPC out, that one's going to wake up. Let's see if we can stealth through. So if we can get away with knocking her out, we may be in for a good one here. Just move nice and slowly. Sorry, dear. Bit of grotion. Always take keys, in my opinion. That way, if you're around, or you just need to get into a lock, you may have the key. Quite a bit more stuff, especially the savage snaps in there. That's very useful. And then we can escape through this one. This actually leads us back outside. Let's just go across to the next door. Another easy lock. And then if we head upstairs, we'll have another easy lock at the end on the right-hand side. Some more groschen. There we go. So we actually got a decent amount of groschen out of this so far. And then we'll go to the other side, where we have an NPC. So we're just going to be careful here. Need you to not wake up. I'm sorry, dear. I guess I've become the bathhouse stalker. How dirty. Alright, we're not undressing anybody there, so I don't feel too bad. Still gonna take everything, even though it's not that valuable. Got another one to knock out here. It's gonna be great for our stealth skill. And our groschen. Alright, so with these rooms looted, we can head on back down. With the bathing area mostly looted, I am actually going to go ahead and empty my inventory so that we can continue going south along the road. We are obviously going to continue doing stuff like this all the way down to the south. We're actually going to come down to these houses here because there's a bit more stuff we can get, and then we can come over to the west. That's going to be the plan for now. All right, with a lighter inventory then, and as you can see, I slept again, so we're back to daytime as we continue forward. We can start heading towards the houses over there. Now, along the way, we should see some sheep, and this is going to be our first opportunity to improve our archery skill. Hopefully we can get it up, and it should give us some strength as well. Do I need nourishment? I do. Eat from the pot. As I said before, just seems to be there a lot of the time, so we'll go ahead and we'll take it. Once we cross the bridge, if we just follow the path down to the house, we should see down on the left side here that we'll have a decent sized herd of sheep. The villagers here, if they see us shooting the sheep, are not going to be happy. They are going to report us to the guards, but we can herd them a little bit away if we want to. Let's have a look where they are right now. So we've got sheep there, we've got a dog. I don't even see the NPCs. Oh, there we go. You must have just spawned in. Sometimes, if you just like turn around, it like resets the NPCs or something, makes them spawn in. It's a bit weird. But she doesn't. Looks like they're both there. I think there's only like 2 or 3. With those being down there, we can take the dog down. Yeah, first point in the bow. Sick. And hunting. Look at that. These are what are going to give us our first bit of a improvement to our stat here. We don't want to be too close, I guess, but we do need to have a good line of sight on them. So we're just going to trap them at the water. Wait for them to calm down a little bit and just fire some arrows into them. It's always a bearing from the, like, it's always up and left from the knuckle by some amount. Sometimes it's more, sometimes it's less, depending on the distance. But eventually you'll get used to it. Make sure you go on in and loot your arrows. Now, when you come down to these, there's a bit of a decision to be made. They don't seem to restock their inventory, but the meat that they keep on them doesn't go off. Wow, they actually got stuck in the water straight there. That's good. They have some more improvements to our stats there. Very nice. So we're going to go ahead, get the arrows back from the rest of them. And these actually don't take that long to respawn either. We could probably get another go at these as well before the end of the video. Although maybe we don't put them into the water quite so bad. Although this wasn't too terrible. And that's given us our first 2 points into the bow. And you can see from the tooltip, we need to get this to 5, as that'll reduce the shake on the hand, which then just overall makes shooting the bow significantly easier. And that's important because very early on in Ratai, we're going to have a competition when it comes to the bow. Having an advantage for that is going to be very good for us, which is why I wanted to make sure that we got this. So with the sheep dealt with, we can now make our way back up towards the house. As you can see, I am still harvesting a ton of herbs to make sure that we are proccing the leg day perk. We want to get as much out of that as we can. And then because the villagers are still all the way down there, we're going to go ahead and see if we can get into this house. Lots of locks to be picked. Again, the loot is secondary to the XP right now. There's nothing amazing in here. That's not what we're here for. We're just here to pick locks, basically, and get away with whatever we can. Chest in the back room. Eat some free food. And then that's that house done. As long as no NPC watching, we have another dog. And a pig around the back. And that allows us to move on to the next house, where the aim is to pretty much do the same thing. We just want to try and sneak in. If there's nobody here, she's already spotted us, so we can't actually do anything. If we were light or stealthy enough, we may have been able to get in there and knock her out. She's cottoned on to us now, so I am full again with my inventory. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to drop all that stuff off, and then we'll continue from this same point where we're then going to head to the west, as we said before. So I just returned, and where are we? You can already see that the sheep are back. So I'm just going to hunt the sheep down, and then we're going to continue. Once you're ready and you've finished terrorizing these few villagers in this little outpost, then we're going to come on over to the gallows over here. I'm going to have to kind of simulate what I did because, unfortunately, my recording did not resume as planned. And so I'm just going to have to run through it kind of dry, I guess you might say. But either way, we're going to head on up into the forest here and start making our way through. We should pretty much just need to go straight west. There is, in fact, a path that you can hit sometimes, but I'm too lazy to find or follow it. Once you're through the forest, you should see that we have the gallows here. And so long as you have the spade in your inventory, it should not be difficult for you to dig out this corpse. You're then going to find out that the ring that you're after letter from Peshek is not there, and so we need to come down to this house over here, which is where the executioner lives. We're actually going to get sent back out this way for a ring, but we can, in fact, get it now. So we just need to come on in to this little homestead thing, or barn, or whatever you want to call this, group of buildings, and we want to come on in, and we need to get a stealth kill. We need to get a stealth knockout on the dude that lives here. Now, every time I've knocked this guy out, even if you do it without being seen, he does seem to report it to the guards. So all you need to do is have him follow you out of the building. Usually, like during midday, he'll start tending to his garden and everything. But if we just get him to follow us out, excuse me, buddy, follow me. You can see he'll follow you all the way to the entrance to his little homestead, and as soon as we step outside, he's going to want to go back to what he was doing. At which point we can drop into stealth mode, creep up on him, and knock him out. I should stay out of sight. If he sees you, he is going to turn around and start doing it all over again. But at this point then, we can go ahead, we can loot him, anything that he has, take his key if you wish to, go on inside of his house, make sure you pick open all of his chests. We've got one there. We obviously pick through this. This is where the ring is, so make sure you don't miss this one. Pick into that chest. And you can also come out into the barn. We'll have another chest right here. I'm probably going to get a double bounty now because it seems like he has some kind of protection so that every time you do knock him out, we get some kind of bounty put on our head. But it's fine. We're going to wear a load of that down. Also, don't forget to use his animals to continue to level up your archery skill as well. It's actually going to have us reach level 5 archery before I intended, which is rather good. We still have some other areas that we can get some additional archery XP. And we're going to actually go up that way now. This is going to be a fairly long video, so I apologize when I think about it, because there's loads of stuff left for us to get. And I guess I haven't said it specifically, but there's no point in trying to do this with the chickens. For whatever the reason, the chickens, they don't give us XP. So only things on 4 legs apparently are worth shooting at, unless they're human. In the neck, that wasn't very nice, was it? Once you finish looting the homestead, we can head on back to Peshek now, as we have done a good chunk of the outer areas of Ratai, which is rather nice. If you have space, or even if you don't have space, feel free to start looting as much herbery as you can. We really want to get herbalism maxed out, and we really want to continue improving our strength stat, which is the main thing that we're doing when we're doing this. Now we can now turn in our quests with Peshek, give him the ring, and now if we wish to, we can learn to pickpocket as well. So we'll follow him around the corner so that we can level up another trade. So he's going to give us a quick thing to do. I'm going to explain this to you now anyway. Obviously, you want to be in sneak mode. You can do this nice, but you want to be in sneak mode. Hold A. This can be dangerous, by the way, so just be aware of that. And basically, the longer that we hold this down, the longer we have to look for an item in his pockets. You can see it moves pretty slowly, and then we need to press the item and then exit. And that is how we do the pickpocketing. Nice, quick, and simple, but very difficult to do in practice. Do this as much as you want with him. Whenever you want to do any form of practice with this, he'll freely do that. But I'm not too bothered about concentrating on it right now. You guys can level that up as much as you wish to. Instead, it's time for us to start concentrating our attention on heading to the north. So make sure you clear out your inventory and maybe make it a fresh day so that we are not hampered by the nighttime too much. I'm not expecting too much trouble along the way, and realistically, I'm probably not going to detail a huge amount of the route that we're going to take, because we're basically just going to follow a road to the north. But we're just going to go ahead, we'll have a quick check inside of all the buildings, just in case I missed something on my first time through here, which I don't think I did. Cross the bridge. Oh, we have a pig. That's free archery XP. Take that. And then we can cross the bridge. The cool thing about this bit is if we do get heavy, we don't actually need to go back and store it, because we're actually going to go ahead and we are going to get another storage chest once we are at a little village that we're going to see to the north. The village doesn't have that many guards either, so it's very nice for us to pillage, which is what we're going to use it for. But we do need to get a little bit of gold. I haven't brought any groschen with me from the previous videos, so everything that I use in this video has been gotten in this video, apart from obviously the bow and the weaponry that I'm using. You guys will have to source your own weapons if you do need them. We have a bit more loot here. It's very nice. And I guess the area we're in still counts as Ratai because I am still wanted. People won't chase me, and guards will only chase you if they get too close. So just try not to get too close to any of them and you should be fine. But trapped cow here. We're going to take that for some archery XP. 4 arrows later. Very good. Plenty of hits from you. Check that the coast is clear. Oh, we have a chest to lock. Let's take a quick look inside. Have a single lady. We're going to knock her out. Sorry, darling. There's the groschen I need. Some food. Some loot. Do I need feeding? Now we can go ahead and everything coming along nicely. We've got even more groschen. Look at that. Very nice. Deal with the dog. Pick the lock outside. Come across to the other half of the farmstead. We have one oldish looking lady. Why are you Jesus-ing at me? Again, you don't have anybody watching your back right now. Terribly sorry, ma'am. Some more groschen. In for the very easy lock. Nobody home right now. Let's check the other rooms just in case. Yeah, that's everybody. So we're going to go ahead and pick all the locks in here. Both rooms. I'm too heavy to actually jump over this. Oh, no, I'm not, actually. Apparently, I'm not. Okay, that's good. Got some more pigs for some archery XP. That makes us done with this little group of buildings right here. So we can now continue heading to the north. And we're just going to follow this road. It's fairly long. And there are plenty of herbs for us to pick along the way. So I'm just going to do that so that we can keep all of our stats rising. That's what we like to see. And what we're looking at now, we are on 9 strength, 6 agility. That's very nice. It'd be nice if we could get strength to 10. And as we follow the road around, we should come to these buildings here. We're actually close to a very nice piece of loot, which is about here where this bush is. But for now, we're going to go ahead and loot these 2 buildings that we've come across. We've got another dog. Let's just make sure nobody's watching as we continue leveling up our archery skill. And that should actually have us closing in on level 5, which it does. Very nice. So firing arrows now should be significantly better, and we should be less likely to injure ourselves, which is good. Come on down to the barn where we can pick another chest open, and then we can head on into the house. Let's be careful as we go in. We don't want to attract too much attention. Nobody home today. It's very nice. We're going to go ahead and pick the next chest open. Eat from the pot. Wow, I'm too full. And then we can go ahead and leave and continue making our way around the road. If you happen to see random wanderers on the path, highly recommend dropping into stealth mode and knocking them out. This is just going to help us to continue leveling up our stealth skill, which is just going to, again, make a lot of the things that we get up to easier. Go ahead and take the gold, keep that grotion rising as we make our way through the game. Also make it to the T-junction with the tree. This is where we want to come off the path. And all we need to do is look for the tree with no leaves on it. This is going to have some loot for us. I'll bring the map up once we get there, just in case you guys need a marker. We can go ahead, empty this little sack here for some goodies. There it is on the map, just in case you really needed to see it. As I said, that little bush that was just to the right there, all good. And then we can make our way back to the road. And if you follow the road along, you should eventually come to the village, which is Ledechka. I believe that's how we say it. And the first thing we want to do, especially if you have been following along, you got all of the loot, you should have well enough groschen to go on in there and pay for a few nights at the tavern. We're going to spend a fair amount of time here. So far, every time I paid for a few nights, it hasn't even ran out. So I don't know if this is like a permanent access to the bed, which is more worth it, mostly because then you don't have to keep on hunting down the innkeeper to be able to use the chest and drop all of your stuff off. So we're going to head on in now. You see we have the tavern icon right here. Bring this up on the map again for you guys. You can see that you cross the river, and it's pretty much the second left. You come through the little gateway there, and we can give our place to sleep. And we're going to go a few nights, and now we can use this as much as we want. And we now also have 2 towns available. So the good thing about this is you'll see on the map, I still have a bounty in Ratai because of what I did to the Executioner. We can now spend a fair amount of time in this town, just doing kind of whatever we want, grinding some stuff up. I can show you guys that there is a way to farm some bow skill here. And you can spend some time doing this whilst we just wait for that bounty to go so that we can actually head into Ratai and start dealing with those quests and those tasks that are in there. Our bedroom is this one in the back. It's nice and private, which is good. Go ahead and drop all of your stuff off, including the new piece of armor that we just got, which you can see is quite nice. And the reason we want to make sure we've got a good archery skill, I think I've already said, but there is going to be an archery competition. So we want to make sure that our archery skill is actually looking pretty good before we head on into Ratai and start dealing with those quests. Being as we're in here though, and doesn't like we're going to get caught, we're going to go ahead and do some lock picking. Now is a good time to take a save though. Make sure you have done a sleep and save in your bed as we continue working on leveling up our lock picking skill as we go around our nice fresh village here. So at this point, I think most people should have the idea about, sneaking around, locking locks, maybe even switching from day to night, because sometimes when the villagers are out doing stuff, it's easier than at nighttime. At nighttime, there are very few guards, so if you can get your strength up to 10, sneak up on one and mug them, you can get yourself some extra armor and weapons. So I'll leave that for you guys to do kind of after the video, but for now, the last thing that I want to finish on is leveling up our archery skill. And for that, we're going to head up to the northern end. You can see we have this butchery right here. So if I bring this up on the map, you can see we are kind of around here. We should be able to, if we need them, so if you need more arrows, you can come to the trading building right here, which is just next to the butcher. You can get some extra arrows in there if you need to. And now what we can do is there are animals here that we can farm, so we can go ahead, come to the back end of where the butcher is. If you don't see them straight away, do a spin, and you'll find that we now have sheep here. And the best thing about these sheep is they're actually penned into this square, so it's hard for them to get away. Make sure you're not being watched. We don't really want to get into trouble here, because the plan is to spend some time here just grinding out the rest of our stats, right? Wait for them to calm down and loose some arrows into the sheep. This isn't the only spot though, so just bear with me for a moment. Recover your arrows, and then we're going to jump over all of the fencing. Again, you could be picking all of the herbalism stuff right now if you wanted to gain more strength stat. That's something that I'll save until after this video is finished. So heading all the way over to the west until we see a small pen with some pigs in it. Now, there are a couple of villages around here that we just need to be mindful of, so we will kind of want to get in with the pigs a little bit, just make sure that we can't be seen. People aren't like mega sensitive about it, but we just need to be out of earshot and sight. And then we can start using the pigs, recover all of your arrows and any pork that you need to feed the dog. And then we can jump over the back end of the pen, hop the next fence, and we have another group of pigs that we can farm right here. By the time we've done this next set of pigs, the sheep are probably 1 to 2 minutes away from respawning. So you can either just wait over there, you could do something in the village, whilst we wait for our bounty to be removed in Rattay. We are going to be dealing with our first visits to Rattay itself, and that is the main city part of Rattay. Of course, we've already been around the outskirts. This is probably going to be the last of our mini-series here, where I'm getting everybody set up and ready to take on the rest of the game. There are going to be some optional parts, and we're going to start out by following the quest line, but there is a very specific point where we can stop. We don't have to stop there, and you don't miss out on too much. You just have to progress the story a little bit further to regain access to something. From that point, if you just stop the story mission, you have access to everything that you want, and you can either choose to progress the main story, or you can choose to go off and explore on your own. And so that is probably where we're going to finish off story content wise, and then we will clear our way through a load of Rattay itself. Just in case you are among the people just joining us, before we came to Rattay, we actually headed to the north to Ledechko to do some grinding. That means that our stats are not as low as some people's might be. So if it seems like I can do more things than you can, or things a little bit easier for me, in particular with the bow skill, if you bring up your tooltip here, you'll see you need to get your bow skill to level 5 before your hand stops shaking. That is going to be important for a certain challenge that we have coming up if we want to win. Additionally, equipment wise, you'll see that we are wearing mostly quiet clothing that keeps us camouflaged. This is probably best to be changed. You want to bring clothes along that you don't really care about, so your starting set of clothes might even be best for this right now. I'm just using all of this for convenience. The reason for that is because your clothes are going to 100% be broken after this first segment. Just so that you're aware, a little bit further up this way, there is an inn, and I am probably, once we get a small break in the quest, going to head up to that inn and change my clothing so that we don't break all of it. Either way, we're actually going to make a start now. We're going to head into Rattay. Try to persuade your way in if you can, and then we're going to head on inside. It's straight to the right to get to Radzik, but if you're quick about it and we head on down this ladder here, I can show you that we do in fact have a chest down here. Now you want to be super able to not get caught, because we are going to be interacting with the authorities around here, and therefore if we start getting ourselves a bounty, that is going to significantly slow us down, or it's going to cost us groschen. Take anything you want out of there. There's not really anything important. You could use that for your practice loot actually, if you wanted to do something like that. And I've only just noticed that we can actually decide to sleep and save here, so that's actually kind of useful to know. But with that lock picked, we can continue on our merry way. Now we are looking to get our lock picking to 12, and I think I'm going to be able to do it during this video. I already got to level 11 over in Ledechko, which is quite cool. But as you can see, we're going to be continuing to move our way forward. Go ahead and chat to the guards. Again, we always want to be getting all of the chat options to keep our speech rising. Heading up the stairs. We've only got both sets of stairs, and then loop around until we end up in a cutscene. Again, now can be a time to have a quick check around. I'm actually going to see if we can get a couple of chests picked in here. If you have any savior snaps, it may be worth using them just to make sure that you don't lose too much progress. You know, if you can come into somewhere like this, for example, and there's a chest, there's nobody watching, we should get away with it. This is risky. You might be better off saving this until in a few moments time, but I'm going to get it done now. And we're not even doing this for the loot, although we will take those books. That's useful for later. I will have a video on learning how to read, but that's not really a big video like this one will be. Can't get into there because I can't do very hard right now. We need lockpicking to 12. That's going to give me a perk point, and at 12, we're going to get Look of the Drunk. This is going to basically make it so that we lockpick at level 15 instead, and should give us access to very hard chests, and that's going to be very important for us later on. Trust me. All right, so again, you can take a look around here. Make sure you're not being looked at. These guys can see you in here, but we're so well camouflaged and silent that we should be okay. Whenever my dog barks, it always makes me paranoid. Loot in there if you want it. It is basically free groschen at this point. If you guys want to be picking that up, you can do. But you don't want to be picking stuff like this right in front of the guards. That is going to be really bad. Worth noting that if you are inside of Rattay, during the night, the guards expect you to carry a torch. They'll give you a couple of warnings, but if you don't take that warning, they will in fact put a fine on you. So let's not have that happen. And so it's up to you if you now want to spend a bit of time terrorizing Rete, you could do that right now, but we're going to go ahead and move to the inn that I was talking about before. That way we can get ourselves the next save point that we want. We can get some sleep and be ready for the training that we have to undergo in the next day. All we need to do is follow the road all the way through Rete itself, head on out the other end. And if I show you the map now, you can see that we're going to continue moving along the road here, and the inn is just slightly along the map, as you can see right here. Of course, don't forget along the way, we are literally going to be going towards a storage chest right now. So if you want even more strength points, you can go ahead and be gathering all of the plants along the way as well, because we're going to be able to drop those off the storage chest. We got a few pigs along the side. Just make sure no guards can see you, so that you can continue leveling up your archery skill. And you can even pick a few doors along the way. The people will obviously be inside, and most of them are families, so I probably wouldn't go inside, but at least it's some free lockpicking XP that's actually renewable each day, or each time they go through that door, they'll relock it. So that's just a nice way for us to keep on leveling lockpicking as we're moving around, as we continue making our way towards the inn. And I shot a dog on the way up, which I got caught doing, so I now have a ransom. So I'm going to have to wait a little while until that wears off, or I'm going to have to choose to pay it off. And I think I'm just going to choose to pay it off, because otherwise it's going to take me forever to do this. But either way, once you make it to the inn, we need to find the innkeeper. Got myself a place to sleep, as per usual. We're going to pick a few nights. This one is expensive for whatever reason, but it's not going to matter. By the end of this video, you will effectively be able to get unlimited money. With that paid for, we can head up to our bed, which is up the stairs and this way. If you can pick your way through here without being seen, we've got 2 chests in here. And we have another one at the end as well, with another chest inside. And then our new bedroom is the middle door, which gives us access to the storage chest where I'm going to store all of my goodies right now. And as we said before, now is a good time to put some clothing on that you just don't really care about. If you have something that's got a little bit of protection or armor on it, it may help you out against one of the people that we've got to fight. Realistically, we just want to be in some nice basic stuff that we don't really care about if it takes too much damage. So I'm just going to pick a few random pieces out here so that I don't have to care about taking a few bits of damage. Additionally, because we're in an inn, we might as well sleep till the morning, take a save at this point. Sleep until around 8 or 9 o'clock-ish. Captain Bernard, which is the person that we're going to be talking to, turns up in the morning, and then he leaves around lunchtime-ish, so we don't have all day to go and find him. We are going to have to pay the fine off, so if you are in this situation where you've been a little bit naughty, make sure you have no stolen loot on you, because you're going to lose it. But don't worry too much about weaponry and stuff. We should get given that down there. In fact, I'm going to make sure I don't have any weaponry with me, so that I don't get any of it taken away. Although it is worth bringing a shield along to make blocking easier during the second part of this. And with all of that done, we can now go ahead and meet Captain Bernard at the training site. So at this point, all I've done is follow the quest marker from the inn over to here. Very simple. Captain Bernard's going to take some money from me. Yes, we surrender. I'll pay my 80 gold. It's okay. Now we can continue as if nothing ever happened. Sick. All right, now that it's calmed down, we can start the basic training. That'll be me. And then we're going to start all the way from the beginning. If you are not as prepared as me, you can make up for it by doing this. If you are as prepared as me, we get free combat stats. Sick. Sort out.
Let's see what you're made of. Hold it properly.
We're basically getting the same tutorial that we got before. So he wants us to move around right now. And now we can throw some attacks. Now we get to use the stab, which is my most common attack, actually. All right, and this is the point where we can abuse him. So long as you don't do any combos and you just attack slowly, you can remain in combat with Captain Bernard here for as long as you like. He obviously does have a timer. Now we're actually going to be blocking, and we actually want to block because that's going to increase our defense stat. Now, the actual duel part of this is almost unfair because he has Master Strikes, which is how he parries and then does a counterattack on you. We're going to learn that very shortly. And eventually we're going to get taught to parry, which is going to significantly improve our ability to defend in combat. And eventually we get a new NPC join us, and that is the end of our standard training. Now we're going to progress to the point where we can continue using Bernard. He will in fact give us unlimited access to his training, which is just free stat points, and that's where we want to get to in this video. I'm not a fan of dodging. I will not be using this very much in my playthroughs. The unfortunate thing with the defending is there's not much of a counter attack for it, so it becomes a thing that's not all that great, I'm afraid. And then we get taught about feints, where we start up the charge of the attack, quickly switch the direction, and then release the attack. You gotta be pretty quick, so just bear that in mind. With the melee training done, we can now follow Bernard to the archery range. If you're not confident in your archery, here is going to be a good place to take a save. Again, if you haven't been following the series, there's nothing I can do to help you. You will need to have leveled up your archery a little bit if you want to stop yourself from shaking as you're trying to fire off the shots. Everything should already be equipped, so you just need to get the bow out. Hold your draw button all the way in. And oh my, I think we actually hit that as well. I didn't even get to practice for whatever reason. Get the bow out. Now, all we need to do really is aim to the right a little bit and have it be above the knuckle. It drops off pretty significantly, and all we need to do is be a little bit faster than Capone. As whoever finishes first gets bonus points. Crushed him. And now we can go and duel with hands. This should be pretty easy, to be honest. All we really need to do is get a good block on him and then riposte most of the time. Get some feints in. After a few stabs, he should give in. He's not happy. After a few stabs, he'll admit defeat. And that gives us Capon's hunting bow, which isn't too bad. Not amazing, but it's free. And now we can talk to Captain Bernard. Go ahead and go through all of his dialogue for some extra speech skill. And now we should go and speak to the bailiff that is in town. We have a quest marker for it, so we're going to quickly head on down there. You can see we have the big building right here. This is where we're going to be going inside. Want to head through the middle, then up this set of stairs on the right-hand side, which wraps its way around. And here's the bailiff. I guess he's on his way home or something. And you can even ask here who can teach you to read, which will give you a clue as to where to go. And now what we should find is when we look at the map, we have a place that we should go to at a time. Now, we just want to completely ignore that. And if we want to, we can now go back up and train with Bernard, which is what I'm going to advise that we do before we get into any trouble. Ordinarily, just in case you want to know, the bailiff is usually sat at this table. So we're going all the way back to where we came from, back at the top end of Rattay. And now, once we come back to Bernard, we can ask for training and decide what it is we want to train. Now, these bottom three are just paying to get stat increases. We're not too bothered about that. The real thing we need to do is make sure we have our sword skill up to at least level 3. You can obviously use this guy to level up your sword skills yourself. So you can do combat with a practice weapon, which is going to allow us to just keep on attacking him. And he's actually going to attack us too. So we can go ahead and we can level up all of our skills by fighting him here. And all we need to do to come out of this is to just press the surrender button, which will finish off the training. You can now use this as much as you want. Now, just bear in mind, once you progress the story a little bit, you'll have to complete a series of events before he comes back here. He doesn't leave permanently. It's just going to be an hour or two of story content once he leaves. Use that to your advantage. Make sure you pick up at least one combo. I like this one because it's easy. I also like the Scar Maker one because it's got 2 stabs, which makes it really easy to pull off. We could just do a downward slash, stab, stab. But once you've gotten your sword up to level 3, we want to learn the Master Strike ability. And we're going to do it with the swords. Okay, so we'll start out with fighting him. So we're going to use that combo on him a few times, and eventually he's going to decide we are worthy of a new move. And so, of course, the key here is having the direction on the star in the same direction that you need to parry from, and then just parry to get an immediate counterattack against your opponent. Very useful and very strong throughout the game. Now that we have the Master Strike, we could just go off on an adventure, or, much like me, we could decide that we want an extra point in strength and point in sword. But most importantly, we really want to get our defense up to 12 so that we can reduce the weight of armor that we wear, because oh my, does it get heavy. I'm not saying you should push all the way out to there right now, but if you do, you will not regret it. Now that we all have the ability to become gods of war at will, we can now move on to looting our way through Rattay. For this, we're going to start back up at the inn. We're going to clear our way down and through most of the town. The aim here is mostly going to be to get our lockpicking to level 12. I'm going to show you a couple of guard rooms where if you still don't have any gear, I'll show you some more gear that we can get. And obviously, if you have been keeping up with all the gear, you're going to be even richer. I'm going to make my way over to the inn and then we can start clearing our way down. Slip back into some stealthy looking clothing so that we aren't attracting too much attention. And now is obviously going to be a good time to make sure you have saved your game. You really don't want to be losing all of the progress that you've made with Bernard. At this point then, if you haven't already, time for you to be picking the locks on either side of our room here. And even if you have, they may have been relocked, which is just extra lockpicking XP. So we're going to go ahead and just unlock all of these. The same goes for the other side, if we can get away with it. Once we're done up here, we can head on down, enter the doorway on the left in the barn. Go ahead and get this done. I am in fact just going to take everything because we'll be able to drop all of this off within our bedroom whilst we're here. So if you wanted to get even more strength and more herbs whilst you're going around, there's going to be stuff around the inn as well. But for now, we can head on into the other part of the barn where we have another chest, and then past the wagons into the doorway for another chest, and then indeed into the next set of doors for another chest. As you can see, quite a lot of good lockpicking XP to be had up here, which is very useful to us in our current state. We can now head on into the inn itself to see if we can get into any more doors. Obviously, this is going to be entirely dependent upon whether or not it's extremely busy in here and if there's anybody watching. So we'll head on down the stairs where we have a door. If we loop around, just make sure nobody's watching you. There's not actually much in here, so we can go ahead and leave. And because at this point we're going to be leaving the inn area, there's two things we want to do. First up, we want to make sure we have some alcohol on ourselves, and we want to re-clear our inventory. So I'm going to drop everything back off in my chest, and I'm going to make sure that I'm carrying some beer. This is because just being a little bit drunk is going to tip us over the edge once we reach lockpicking 12. With the inn cleared and our inventory sorted, then it's time for us to continue moving down the road. Again, as we go into all of these areas, it's all about being opportunistic. You're going to have to make your own judgment as to whether or not things are possible for us to take. Bernard is still right there for me, so I'm probably not going to deal with those buildings right there, but if you guys can get something out of it, you probably should. Quickly check the door. Yep, it's nice and ready for us. Ripe for the XP gain. Quick peek inside. Yeah, we're looking good in here, so let's get some lockpicking done. Got 2 chests to take care of. And then we can go ahead and leave, which allows us to get back on the road and continue down back towards Rattay. So, if Bernard isn't watching for you, you could go ahead and take a look around this set of buildings right here. But there is another set that we can deal with right now, and that is over on the left-hand side as we're looking at the Rattay battlements. So we're just going to head on across, see what we can garner over this end. Got a chest on the right as we head into the barn here. And if we head on over to the other barn, we'll have one on the right-hand side here as well. Nothing here, though. We must have already picked it. Head on into the building. Let's have a quick look. Just one guy in his own. We're going to see if we can just knock him out. Nope, he's going to see me and have me leave. Oh, dear. There's too much traffic around here, so it's probably a bad idea for me to try knocking him out outside. So we will leave. In this instance, you are a lucky boy. Which means we can now start having a look around the town. We could start from this end, and that probably is somewhat logical, but the most fun and the most profit is down at the bottom end. But to start that, we do need just a bit more lockpicking experience. Which, looking at how close that is, means we probably can do it. So I am actually going to go to the other entrance. I know it seems a bit weird, but that basically means we're going to be able to work through this area here, which is where the vast majority of the stuff that I want to show you guys is anyway. We'll have a quick run down to the other side, and we'll start clearing Rattay from this end. Now, of course, we already got the chests from where we saw Radzig. Let's go and check out this chest here, though. If it's clear and it's been relocked, then we have some easy XP to get right here as well, which looks like we can. Take some food out the pot. And as we're heading into Rattay from the southern side, the place that we want to go is up this set of stairs right here. We're going to get on inside, drop into stealth mode, start picking away. There's our last point that we needed in lockpicking. Very nice. Get another one through the door. We're still going to continue leveling up our lockpicking because we do want it to continue getting easier. But now that we're at level 12, it is time for us to take on the look of the drunk, okay? This makes us a little bit louder when we lockpick after having a beer. It gives us a 30% increase, which has us hit 15, which is important for the very hard locks. So we're going to pick our way through the other 2 doors. One on the left is empty. Now we can go through the one on the right. Have our first very hard chest. We can try it. Oh, it actually lets me straight in, which is unusual. But maybe I'll be able to demonstrate the what I want to later on. Let's put us on very heavy, which is, of course, a little bit dangerous, but we can still continue getting more loot. We've got a hard chest next. Continuing on through the buildings. As you can see, fairly safe during the day because the guy that lives here is out front. You shouldn't really need nourishment at this point. You probably shouldn't have even eaten because when we take our beer soon, we're actually going to gain nourishment for that. So just bear that in mind. With that done, we can cross over to the other side of the little yard here. We can see there's like a blacksmith area. He's not here right now. Usually there's a blacksmith under here. Need to be careful because that means he's moving around. But at this point, we can cross the yard, get up onto this stone platform part here, and then we can head on inside. And make sure we close this door. You 100% want to be quiet in here because we're going to get some good stuff. So this door on the left, we're going to pick our way in. Close the door behind us. And here we have a selection of very hard chests. It may say that it's too difficult, but that's fine. We're going to go ahead, take some beer, wait for the symbol to pop up, and now we can magically get in. Just in case you don't know, this is the weapon shop. So we're going to grab all of this stuff. Now there is a trick that can be done with this. We can place items into a weapon shop chest and they will sell those items and then they will deposit the money of those items in that chest. So we can actually use access to this to gain money. Now I find that it works better if we do this in a shop where the items don't belong, because then it very quickly just converts it all straight into gold for you. And I want to do that in a bit of a different shop to this one, which is why I'm not doing it right now. But as you saw, we got an additional 1,500 gold out of that as well. This is an extremely good place to to come to get an early boost. Now, as you can see, I'm very heavy, so I'm going to nip back to my storage chest. I'm going to come right back to here so we can continue going through. So with that, we can now head upstairs. It may be a bad time for me because it's kind of dusk, and at this point in time, a lot of the NPCs are starting to move around, so we do need to be careful. I don't see the point in picking this very hard from the outside. We'll have a look inside. Yeah, so the merchant has in fact left to go upstairs, and we'll have to be extra stealthy as we come through. Close this door that I opened. Obviously, ordinarily during the day, I find that indoor stealing is easier, but sneaking around outside is harder. We're going to have a quick peek upstairs. So there are quite a few chests in here, and we would still like to be raising our XP bar, because obviously 3 more points, and then we don't need to keep on drinking every time we want to pick a very hard lock, which is useful. So 2 chests in here. Very nice. We can move on to the main room. So I've only got 1 guy, so if we're quick enough to make sure he doesn't wake up on us. Get some extra groschen off of the weapons dealer. He's even got some dried fruit for me. Then we can get through the rest of his chests. Another very hard. So we have to take a sip so that we can get in. Must just make those fingers extra nimble. And then at this point then, we're just going to go ahead and leave. Go downstairs through the door so that we can exit. They'll never even know I was there. Alright, so that's the weapon shop, all nicely looted. I'm going to come on around to the front now. Obviously, that bit's done. We're going to come into this rather large-looking area. This is probably going to be confusing because there's chests and rooms all over the place. The way to get around in here is really mad. But for starters, what we're going to do is I'm going to show you guys my favorite chest for putting loot in if you want to convert it to gold. We're going to come over to this right-hand side here. This is actually where we're going to get access to an alchemy area, but we're not really ready for it yet because ideally we want to be able to read before we can start going through all of the different recipes for making the potions. We're going to come into this back room here, which isn't even locked, as you can see. And so this seems to be available and just all good for us to use. We close the door to make sure nobody can see. And then we can pick through the hard lock. And we'll have 2 very hard chests right here. Apparently I'm still tipsy enough to get through them, which is good. This right-hand one is the one you want to put stuff into if you want it converting to gold, basically. This won't work necessarily for potions and herbs, although you can put them in. It'll just take a bit longer for the NPC to sell it all. But in addition, we can also take the whole stock that they have, including all of the books. So once that we are able to read, this is going to be pretty good for us. So make sure you grab all of this. And as you can see, the NPC stays there. This is because when that's now available, we can leave. So if I wanted to sell something, all I would need to do is treat this like any other chest, go into my inventory, and then put the stuff in there. So for example, if I didn't want these bandages, I could drop those bandages in there. Over time, the NPC will sell them, and then when I come back in a day or so, that'll basically be turned into gold. We're going to come slightly further around the back to this barn here. You can see there's not a lot in here, which is all good. We do have a chest that we can deal with. And now we're going to head back around to the front so that we can head into the central set of archways. And then head on up the stairs on the right-hand side and follow the loop around. This is technically the way to the bailiff that we used before, but obviously we're in here with different intentions this time, so we are just going to have some fun going around. As I said before, once we're at this kind of time, where it's like dusk, you have to be careful because NPCs are moving around a lot right now. But at the far end of the room, we can go through this door, which passes us over the archway and gets us into the book room. So if you guys want to start getting some of this stuff unlocked, we can do that now. We're going to take all the books. We're actually going to keep all of these stored because we 100% want to be learning to read later on. And we'll have a video detailing exactly where we go for that. We're going to pick our way under the stairs. We can continue just building up our lock picking skill. Grab the next very hard chest. Then we can head on up the stairs. Being as our friend is at home right now, we're going to go ahead and make sure he stays asleep. I believe this is supposed to be like a scribe, but this one doesn't teach us to read, so he deserves the punishment. And take those leather boots, they look worth some money. Make sure we take all the books. I'm going to go through this door, which is basically us passing back through the middle again. Take all the books. And then we have another merchant chest here. As you can see, this one's a bit more of a pain in the ass to get to, so you really probably wouldn't want to use this one. We'd go ahead and knock this guy out. Start looting way through everything. Now, at this kind of point where we're really heavy, you need to be careful about getting seen because we are unable to run away. So you might want to take a save at this point. We're going to continue moving through so we can continue looting all of the chests. I'm happy that you have enough. It's time for us to get out of here as quickly as possible before we get seen. And now you can either drop your goodies off in the selling chest, or you can take them back to your storage, or split between the two, whatever you want to do. I'm going to sort my inventory out right now so that we can continue looting the rest of Ratai. After clearing out my inventory, it's an awkward time again because I've come back at another transitional time where people are going to be walking around all over the place. Additionally, I just want to show you guys that I have placed, not like everything, but a few items into our gold converter here, and we will come back at the end of the video to see what the result looks like. We are not able to go into this area from the front right now. When it comes to looting the butcher, it's much easier to do it while it's open. Usually there's a guard sat here, so picking that door is extremely risky. As you can see, things can see you from quite far away. We'll give it a go. It's a good job we're in stealthy clothing, and we've been working on our lock picking, right? No, you're going to see us. Look. So as I said, this is going to work better when it's not during a transition time. I may even wait a few hours. I just waited until the shops naturally open. This is what I was talking about. Now you can see the guard basically looks at that door. So we can't really pick our way into the back end of this particular building. But it's not too much of an issue unless the door has been left open. In which case, if you can get in here unnoticed, you'll be able to do some looting. But if that door's locked, then you're going to find it very difficult to get inside of here. We're going to pick our way through the door. And then we have the little lockbox. We'll get into there. The Groshen. It's only 200, but it's fine. And then you can pick up any food that you like from the chest. This actually does respawn, so this is a nice way to get some dog food if you do manage to get in here. Door's been left open. Probably a dude upstairs. Wow, somehow he didn't notice me. Easy lock. Okay, apparently this chest is glitchy, and it's just not worth it to me. We're only doing it for the XP anyway, so we're going to leave that one. Any room with a person in it, especially if they're facing us, we're just not going to entertain that. Which makes this everything that we're going to get from the butcher today. Then we can come down the back end, make our way through all of these buildings here, and into the back alley. This is where, if you are lucky, you are able, as you can see, to mug guards. So if you want to get even more guard gear, you can mug these back here. But there is, in fact, a better place than this, which I want to show you guys in a moment, which is by coming through this gate on the right-hand side, and we're going to take this set of stairs. So if you look around, this is the grocer. Okay, so if I bring this up on the map, this is where we are. We don't want to get looked at. This guy looks like he's glitched out. He might watch me doing this. We're going to head on in, and you want to be quiet here, because if he wakes up, you're going to miss your chance. So we're going to go in nice and slowly. It looks like he's not actually in there today. I'm going to wait a couple of hours. Okay, ordinarily this is one of two rooms that'll have guards in it, and he's not wanting to spawn right now. There is usually armor or weapons in the chests, so hopefully he doesn't come in while I try and get my way in there. I'm going to take all that. Through the other door. This chest. Make our way downstairs. Into the back room. Into the very hard chest, if you have the alcohol. Let's get into this one. As you can see, getting that drinking skill up is now going to be very good for us, which is hilarious. And I can't believe I've actually had 2 more lock-picking increases as we've been going around. So very soon, we're actually not even going to need beer to get into these, because we'll need 1 more lock-picking point. Gonna head on upstairs. Just double check this guard hasn't arrived. Maybe he's after the mission. I don't know. There's usually a guard in here, and I don't know why it's not there. So now we're going to continue moving our way around. We're going to get into this door. The most ridiculous thing is we've not even been seen yet, so I haven't had to do any running. Another very easy lock. Alright, I've hit heavy again. I am going to lighten my load into the gold conversion chest. I'll be right back. And just so you know, as I've returned, here is my reward. 6.8k already. And we're going to drop some more stuff in now. It's crazy to think that we're already on 11k, and I haven't even emptied out my in chest yet. In fact, I dropped some stuff off from what we've stolen into my in chest. That's not even the value of everything that we've taken. And we haven't even started mugging guards. We could put all of their gear into there and everything and just convert it all straight into gold. And it's the value of it as well, so there's no haggling needed. Just absolutely smashes everything. Alright, so we're going to move on to the next building. Maybe I got this wrong. Maybe this is the floor with the guard in it, so let's be careful here. Might even be worth taking a save. At this point, means we're doing so well. And we now have unlimited saving snaps, because we're just going to steal them from the alchemist. So in we go. Nope, still no guard. Some extra loot from the heavy chest. The hard chest, should I say. Through the door, and to the other side of the house. More loot in the chest. Make our way down the stairs now that we've looted the upstairs. Get that looted. Apparently I've drank too much. Did I drink all of my beer or something? Last chest in the front room. Continue moving up. Into the next building. What's more simple loot in here. Just going to make sure we clear our way through the building. Another lock. I've not known anybody ever have internal locks before, but I'll take the experience. Nothing in here. All good. It's not a huge amount in that house, but it's all cleared out now. We can move on to the next one. Still not the one with the guard in it. I feel like I'll know, because I'm sure the chest in the room that has the guard in it usually has guard gear. But apparently it's not this one either. Okay. It must happen after we do some quest. Aha! There is the guard. Found him. Alright, let's go and knock him out. We need to be really quiet here. There's a big reset if I don't get this off right. Knew it. Alright, I'm going to take all of his goodies. And even more stuff from the chest. And then we can make our way downstairs. I'm going to point this out again. just so everybody knows which building this one was. I don't know if it changes or if they can move, or maybe each guard has a different house or something, but I knew I was going to get one upstairs somewhere. Just going to keep on clearing our way through. And as you can see, I'm choosing to pick rather than use the keys, just so we've got the experience still going up. And so I will keep at least one of my mistakes in, so this makes sense. But the actual building that had the guard in for me was this one. I was sure it was one of the ones further down that way, the orange one. But I guess there's a potential chance that all of the upstairs can have a guard in at different times of the day. But that's where you want to look if you want to catch a guard asleep and grab yourself the guard gear. It's on these upper levels. I'm also going to empty out my inventory again. And now we can start heading into this upper area where we can see what other loot is going to be available for us. Got to be careful because there are a lot of NPCs around here. And it is quite tight. Someone that close, if he moves even just a little bit, he's going to see me if I pick my way in. But we're going to try it anyway. Just taking risks for you guys at this point. I've been almost too lucky, so I kind of need to get caught because the NPCs just have not noticed me at all today. Go ahead and start clearing out all these chests. Extra groschen. Moving on into the next room where we can head on down the stairs to the door on the left, into the next big chest. Grab a load of bows, and we can leave. And then we can make our way over to the next building along. Obviously, I guess this should be pretty obvious right now, just kind of how the method is being used. Get ourselves into sneak mode, into the next chest, into the door for the next chest. And with that building looted, we can now leave and move on to the next one. Let's go ahead and check the upstairs in here. Be very careful, just in case, as we continue pillaging our way through Ratai, or Rate. I think they say Ratai in the game, right? But I say Rate because that's how it's spelled. Hard chest, into the landing. Couldn't open the next door. Just nobody home anywhere. I wonder if it's because of the quest progression. I don't know. Or lack thereof. 600 groschen, take that bad boy. Stealth continuing to improve. And I guess that's probably a big thing that we did. Because we went ahead and powered up in Ledechko, we should have a good stealth stat, as well as really low noise and conspicuously clothing. So that's probably saving us a lot right now. With that last door, we've hit natural level 15 lockpicking, which means you don't even need to drink beer anymore to do this. Wow, that was a good chest. Some good stuff in there. And as you can see, after that building, I'm doubly over encumbered. So I'm going to go ahead and empty off into my chest again. And with a fresh inventory comes, and obviously a bit more time has moved, so we're back to nighttime. I'm sure NPCs will be moving around again, so I've got to be real careful as I move around. But now that we've pretty much cleared this side, which was our left side, coming up, we're going to switch over. We're going to start at this top end right here and work our way down this set of buildings. We are not even as rich as we're going to be yet, but I guess we will see. There are less shops on this side, a lot more small buildings, and there are going to be a lot more people at home this time, and doing things like trying to knock people out or kill them and stuff is not going to be advisable, so we just need to be careful as we are going around this side. We're going to start at the top. As you can see, lots of guards up here, so we need to be using the back alleys to our advantage. Can't really pick our way into anywhere around the tavern, too many people, so we're going to skip on to the next building. We're going to avoid the Rate Armory. This is actually quest related, so we probably don't want to go in there, but if we go up the stairs, there is a locked door we could have a look inside of. Let's go and take a little sneak peek, shall we? Got a hard chest. Maybe we'll get some good stuff in here. It's all right. Got some extra silent shoes. Guess that's not bad if you don't already have some. Let's take a look upstairs. There might be some sleeping guards up here, so let's be careful. Nope, none. How are there so few people? Just continue to take all of that goodie. Lots of armor options now, so when it comes to us actually wanting to armor up and get ready for combat, we are going to be nicely prepared for that. So that upper area looted. Let's go take a look at the door underneath, because there is in fact another one. Right, we've got one guard. All right, I'm gonna take a save here. If he's on his own, we're going to try and knock him out, but it could aggro the people below, and that's bad. Sick. That's going to be another full set of armor. Very hard chest. We just saved, so that means we've already got alcohol in the system. That's lovely. Oh yeah, tons. That's almost too much loot. All right, we don't want to go down a big long path, so let's get down the stairs. And now I've definitely got to empty my inventory again, so I'm going to nip off to the money chest. With all that stuff dropped off, we can continue taking a look around, see if there's any more loot we can go ahead and grab. Let's go into this next building. So just to make sure that I'm obvious, just past where we just looted all of the armory, got a nice easy door to try and get into right here. We've got to be really careful, because if a guard patrols by, we're going to get seen. Not only are we picking a lock, we don't have a torch on, and that is illegal in Ratai. We'll get on inside. Just a single door. We got one lady. Okay, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry, you're all alone. Don't worry, we won't. Oh, we did get seen. I don't know how we got seen, but we did get seen. For the sake of one knockout of a lady in a tiny room, I'm going to reload that. I'll leave that bit in just so you guys can see that I made a bit of a mistake, so I don't look like some kind of angel or angel of perfection when it comes to looting around here. I was going to try and get him while he was patrolling, but that didn't quite work out, did it? I'm going to try and loot this guy. See if we can make another mistake. Whoops. All right, so we know that we're not quite strong enough to deal with tanky guards, and we don't really want to go into that building. I'm going to try this one. This could be another reset, which will be hilarious, but we should be able to get this guy. Usually, if it's someone with a shield and like big armor, that's when it's harder to them out. This guy was easy. Got to keep that loot rolling in. So we're not going to go into there because that was too easy to get caught. We will come into this next house though. Dawn is coming, so NPCs are going to start moving around again soon. So I've got to be extra careful. And I think this is actually a store, because this should be the tailor's store. So we may well get some good rewards in here if we are lucky. I don't want to go in there and strangle him if I don't have to, because that seemed to be what alerted the guard last time. Let's try the other door. Nope, don't really want to do that either. Just try and stay quiet then, I guess. Get into this back room. And why so many people, like couples, sleep in single beds? They don't seem to have done double beds very much at all. Wow, there's a third guy there. All right, I'm going to see if we can get away with this. We're going to take a save. I'm going to use one of my savior schnaps here. See if we can get away with it. At least it was in the back end of the building, so hopefully nobody will notice. But I can't see where his actual shop chest is. There it is. Okay, cool. So that's going to be a ton of money to put into the conversion chest, which is nice. Let's get out of here. All right, I've got to go and empty off again. Many apologies. With the cobblers pillaged, we can now continue moving down the alleyway. I'm going to go ahead and take a look in here. People are moving around again because dawn has arrived. And so I'm going to take a save because it's probably a good idea for me to skip some time, but just in case we're okay, let's just keep going. The money that we get in that gold conversion chest though is going to be crazy at the end of this video, because there's a lot going in there. All right, just nobody in this building. Oh, we'll take that. Just a little bit of loot in that chest, so good. Just like a few skins and the standard stuff that you might normally see. We're going to start coming to the 2-story buildings soon though, which is where we're going to start seeing another uplift in the amount of loot that we're getting from each building. We've got to hope that the guard doesn't see me here. I can't take a save every building because that's just not going to go well. Got a chest here though, and a chest in the side room, and then we're all good. We can just go ahead and leave, continue down the alleyway, open the gate up. I think this is a tavern. This has always got people in it, so very tough to get anything good out of here, although it looks like this cellar is available to us if we're quick. I've not been in here before because it's usually within people's sight range, just as well because there's nothing in here. Take a look in here. This looks like another guard's room to me. Let's take a look as we go into the very hard chest. Nothing special in that one, but we've got a big chest here. It's a very easy though, so not going to be anything crazy. Another small chest in the next room. Bit of groschen. Wealth continues to grow. What are we on now? 12k. It's going to be way higher than that in a minute. We could do with some food apparently, so let's go ahead and eat out of the pot. Thank you, good sir. Another easy lock by the stairs. Oh, we do in fact have a chest. Just an easy one. Need to close the door because otherwise it's not letting me get there properly. Alright, let's get out of here like a bandit. That's pretty nice. We've got a ton out of that. Move on to the next house now. Try not to act too suspicious. This is very dangerous because people are moving around right now because it's that time of morning. And he's looking right at me. I can't pick this. He might not actually see me, but that's just a bad idea. We're asking for trouble there. We'll take a wash. I feel dirty. We've got a lady in there as well. So this building might be out of bounds for me because it's very in vision. We even have a guy on the other side as well. Interesting. But they've left the front door open. Small chance I get away with it. I might have just got unlucky there for a little bit of extra loot. Go upstairs first. So sometimes you just have to keep an eye out for when the NPCs are leaving doors open for you to get in. Just going to loot our way through the upstairs. Oh, we have a guard. Yep, we're going to knock you out. It's another big win. Lock picking up again. That's very nice. And you can just leave through the front. So this is obviously the second guard that I had in mind. So just in case you want to see it, this is next to the lower tavern. Let's get the map up here. So the second tavern along is where this is. I'm going to have to go ahead and empty my inventory again. So I'll be right back. With an empty inventory, we can now move on to the bakery. We do need to be careful again. So let's just take a look around. Is the bakery open? It is. Looks like their door is closed though, so let's just see if we can't find a way around. Good thing about this is they've got a cover, so we should be able to get away with picking our way in here, which we did. Be careful as we go inside. Got a chest. Very nice, thank you. Some free loot. Oh, we've been seen. Oh no, there we go. All right, so we are going to flee this time. Get out of the way. I'll get off. Oh, this is going to be a bad one. She got me stuck there. But as you'll see is, oh man, all we actually need to do is just get away from them. Once they are out of range, we should be pretty fine. But there are a lot of guards here, so this is probably going to be pretty difficult. So this is an issue if you don't save often enough. Now I'm going to have to make a nice big run for it. Probably going to end up with an army of guards chasing me. But generally speaking, so long as you sprint for long enough, you should be able to lose most of them before you get to the inn. So just make sure you're sprinting for a long amount of time, letting the stamina charge all the way back up, and then going again. And the funny thing is, if you run far enough and there ends up only being one guard and he's just walking back towards town, if there's nobody watching, there obviously is right next to the inn, we could in fact go ahead and mug someone like that, provided it's not like a special character like Captain Bernard or something. And then if you're wanting to continue during a point like this, the best thing to do is head into the inn, drop all of your loot off, especially if it's still tagged as stolen, and then we could just go ahead and pay our fine off. This is easier, and depending on the loot that you got caught stealing, may not be worth it, but it just saves everybody chasing chasing you around as you're trying to make your way around Ratai. There is a chest, usually, that all of the gold goes to. And apparently, if you just turn around and rob the guard that you give the money to, you should be able to get the gold back as well. Let's check this isn't Captain Bernard. It is. Right, so we're not going to be able to do it to Bernard. If he catches us, then we're not going to be able to get the money back out of him. And for some reason, he was the only person that chased me. Let's see how big my fine is. This is going to be terrible because I hit a guard. And in fact, if we can get into like a single guard somewhere, that would be ideal. So let's see if we can find a single guard, preferably in a back alley. So we're going to go down this right-hand side. We're going to see if we can find a patrolling guard to pay our fine to. Just surrender. How much do you want? Is that it? 225. It's not even worth knocking him back out for. We didn't even care. We didn't even have any stolen goods on us because we dropped it off within. And now we can continue pillaging all over again. And that was the grocery. So we're just going to continue on the left-hand side. Continue seeing if there's stuff we can get away with. These last few buildings probably are not worth taking the risk for. As you can see, a guard can pretty much come straight around the corner, and these are all going to be low-level buildings. Oh, apart from the trader, obviously. We 100% need to get into the back of the trader. So we'll go to the side, get upstairs, pick our way in. How did you even see me? I'm gonna get that loot. I should have taken a save. I'm just gonna pay this off to make it quick right now. Man, I was gonna say, I don't even know how he saw me. Bailiff guy, where did he even come from? Sometimes I'm sure it just tries to trap you. It's fine, paid a bit of money out. Obviously, you guys probably shouldn't play as flagrantly as I did there, but I just want to keep on going through so that you guys can see what else is in here. We're gonna get loads of money back anyway once we go to the money chest, so it really doesn't affect me all that much. This time I'm gonna close the door. Hopefully that'll stop him coming in. I don't understand why the bailiff came in here. Maybe he sleeps in here. There's 280 groschen. That's how much I paid the guards anyway. Hilarious. Get the next chest. There's clothing in there. Behind the stairs. Very hard chest there. No, very hard picks. Ton of loot in there. We've got another very hard as well. And then we can get out with all of that loot. So even though I got caught upstairs, I still managed to come out of that with a load of loot. And I'm probably going to have profited by the time I get this to the money chest. So if you want to go ahead and do these lower class houses over here, you can feel free to do that. I'm going to drop the rest of this stuff in the money chest. And that is going to be me finished with the looting of Ratai. It is now... Let's take a look at the time. Because usually it seems to sell the stuff between like 9 and 11 in the morning. So we'll go ahead and look to see if we've got some new rewards in there. And so the goodies have been sold. I've got 26k to collect. And some more loot to put in. So let's get that done. And now that we've looted most of the place, if you really wanted to continue getting rich, the next thing you could probably do is see how many guards you can catch on their own. You won't be able to mug Nightingale. He's actually quest related. We aren't going to be interacting with him. But all you really need to do is keep your eye on the alleyways, such as the one near the church. Or you can continue trying to enter into the towers, where we know we'll find more chests full of loot. And we can also use the ladders in these little inlets here to be able to get behind the guards that are on the battlements for even more loot. At this point in the game then, we now have our bow experience farm in Ledechko. We can get as much money as we want by utilizing the chest behind the alchemist in Ratai. You can obviously go ahead and you can loot Ledechko as much as you want, drop that into the same chest. That's all going to get converted into gold. You could go ahead, get some more loot from Talmberg. You could, if you want, return to Scalet. It will be difficult there, but you now have the armor and the stats for it. That's all good. You can max out as many of your fighting skills with Bernard, and all you need to do to continue the story is to speak to Nightingale between 11 and 7, and that should have you set up pretty strongly for the game.